going to do something I normally hate to do and read some box text. Because it's just going to be...
Story time.
Info down.
Yeah, info down. It is the 41st millennium. For more than 100 centuries, the Emperor has sat immobile on the golden throne of Earth. He is the master of mankind by the will of the gods, and master of 1,000,000 worlds by the might of his inexhaustible armies. He is a rotting carcass writhing invisibly with power from the dark age of technology. He is the carrion lord of the Imperium, for whom 1,000 souls are sacrificed every day, so that he may never truly die. Yet in his deathless state, the Emperor continues his eternal vigilance. Mighty battle fleets cross the demon-infested miasma of the warp, the only route between distant stars, their way lit by the Astronomicon, the psychic manifestation of the Emperor's will. Vast armies give battle in his name on uncounted worlds, but for all their multitudes, they are barely enough to hold off the ever-present threat from aliens, heretics, mutants, and worse.
Ooh, worse.
Yeah, exactly. To be a man in such times is to be one among untold billions. It is to live in the cruelest and most bloody regime imaginable. Yet you are not just any individual. Lucky, because that game would fucking suck. You are a warrior in the fable Adeptus Astartes, a soldier on the front lines of the Imperium's never-ending war of survival against those that would see it burn. You are one of the Emperor's finest, a warrior born from a lost age to face humanity's greatest enemies in its time of greatest need. Welcome to the grim darkness of the 41st millennium. Or the other tagline, in the in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. That's what it is. So, with that out of the way, I'm going to take a little longer. So yeah, hey, welcome to Deathwatch. The setup, yeah, you're all Space Marines. Genetically, cybernetically enhanced, barely human, 2.5 meter tall giants, clad in powered armor and with sheets of like plastic armor underneath your skin so that you can interface with it. You're essentially a cross between like knights, monks, pretty much every kind of warrior ever. You're also like super masculine and buff, but not gay in like the slightest. We've had this discussion before. Yeah, the setting is pretty much that. It's complete and utter shit, where if you're not someone special, think of that bit from the Holy Grail, where you're just like, okay, you're nobody.
Do we have astrological signs?
Astrological sign?
Yeah.
Like,
am I a Virgo Space Marine?
Well, essentially yes. Okay. Not in so many words. So, how you make a Space Marine is everyone.
A daddy's no.
No, actually no. You would think that, but no.
I was about to ask if they're like cloned and grown in vats,
what
or if they're.
The Emperor made pretty much 20-ish clones of himself, but they all got scattered for plot reasons to like distant planets, and then there was this massive crusade from Holy Terror to go and find these 20 Primarchs. They'd all landed on inhabited worlds, and of course risen up through the ranks of whatever planet they were on. Slight differences between each one. Those 20 kind of genetic clones of the Emperor were called Primarchs, and they lent their genetic material to produce... Yes, lent. Actually, yeah, they pretty much went to a clinic, didn't they? Anyway, they lent their genetic material to make the Space Marines. So each Primarch kind of started their own chapter, and so each chapter of Space Marines can trace their lineage to a specific Primarch, and they kind of share genetic. There are women in the setting, not as Space Marines.
But if they're all clones, then it's not really gay stuff. It's just like, Yeah.
So, how you make a Space Marine, right? So the homeworld that the Primarchs landed on, they sort of recruit from those planets, some of them. And by recruit, I mean they have hunger-style game gladiatorial combats where the poor wretches living on these homeworlds get put through horrible trials. Then the ones that survive those get like taken up to the fortress monasteries where they're injected with Primarch DNA, have all these extra like hearts and lungs and shit jammed in them. The rib cage fuses solid. Basically, they're made super human
Do
warriors.
they wish that they did not win the trials?
Uh,
Is this like the alien, the first to die were the lucky kind of thing? Like,
No, it's a great honor
okay,
to be chosen as a Space Marine. The overall aesthetic is like grim, dark, baroque. Everything's decked out in skulls. It's super religious because the Emperor is a god, right? Like to the lay people, the Emperor is a god, and there's like the ecclesiarchy, which has missionaries that like go land like. Brief history. Long ago, there was this like dark age of technology where like communications went down for like thousands of years, and worlds went feral. Then the Emperor rose up, made up all these like superhuman kind of legions, and started this giant crusade to reunite the Imperium of mankind. Basically, spread out through the galaxy, finding these worlds, either like bringing them back into the fold of humanity forcibly or otherwise. Also to find those 20 Primarchs, and that's when they founded the legions. So you have like these cults of the Emperor. Well, it's I guess kind of Christianity, right? Like the overarching thing is the Emperor is a god, but on all the planets, all the religions are slightly different. Like not too different, because then that's fucking heresy, and you get virus bombed. But kind of like that. So that is pretty much it. Everything's super horrible. If you're a regular person, thankfully you are not. Think it's kind of like feudal with technology.
So we're all fighting for the Emperor?
Yes, because you are Space Marines.
So we're not rebellious Space Marines. We're
No.
We're indoctrinated Space
You are
Marines?
certainly not part of the Traitor Legion. Because there was a massive civil war. And roughly like half the legions, Space Marine legions, went over to the four gods of chaos. So now you have Traitor Marines. Because if you have the finest warriors in the galaxy, equipped with the finest armor that can take down fucking anything, who do you fight that's going to be a challenge except yourself? So that's pretty much why they did it. But no, you are loyal Space Marines. You are part of the Deathwatch organization, which is slightly different. What it is, Deathwatch is kind of like an organization tasked with dealing with existential threats to the Imperium, kind of above and beyond what normal Space Marines and normal, what's it called now? Not Imperial Guard, Astra Militarum, which are regular kind of grunt soldiers. Deathwatch picks or nominates people, Space Marines, from separate chapters. So there might be a tiny bit of friction where that Deathwatch kill team is made up of members from different chapters who may or may not have different kind of tactics, methodologies, may or may not cleave.
Space A-Team.
Yes, the Space A-Team. Right? So again, much like kind of the Imperial cult, all the chapters of Space Marines have slight variations in how they do things and kind of how they look, and maybe there's like a slight mutation because the Space Wolves, aka Space Vikings, like from being genetically implanted, like their teeth, their canines continue to grow, right? But of course, like nothing's too out there because then, and it's happened in the past, you're just like, yeah, you deviate too much from the norm, so this whole chapter gets purged because eugenics. So do you want a brief rundown of the system we will be using, or do you want to look at characters? Maybe the system?
Me system first, yeah.
I don't know. Okay. I'll defer.
Cool. So this is a dice pool game. Whenever you take an action, you're going to collect a bunch of dice, because all your traits are rated in die types from D4 to D12, 4 being pretty crappy, 12 being awesome. Basically, you're going to collect a pool of dice. You're going to roll them. This is kind of the taking action thing a little bit. But then you're going to set aside any ones, because you can't use them. You're going to pick 2 dice to total, and that's going to be kind of like your action value. Then you're going to pick a 3rd die as your effect die. The number on the effect die does not matter. The size of the effect die matters. Of course, D4 being smallest, D12 being best, or largest. After you've generated those 2 things, the opposition is going to do essentially the same thing. If you're successful, you can either use your effect die to inflict stress on your opponent, kind of like knock down the hit points. You can use your effect die to create an asset which is a beneficial kind of thing that you'll be able to use later in the scene, or you're going to make a complication, which gets attached to an opponent, making it more difficult for them to succeed. The same goes for player characters. So opposition could inflict stress on you, make a beneficial die for their side, or inflict a complication on your side. Those assets, those beneficial die, will get added to your die pool when you take an action that narratively makes sense. So an asset could be things like in my sights, or if you take cover behind something, like the asset you generate will be like barrels and crates of cover, whatever. So if someone is shooting at you, you would add that asset to your die pool, giving you a better chance of success. Complication is pretty much the opposite. It makes things more difficult for you to do. So a complication that gets inflicted on people might be something like jam. Like your weapon is now jammed. So if you try to shoot that weapon, the opposition is going to add that die to their pool, making it more difficult for you to succeed. Basically, assets go in your pool, complications go on you, go in the opposition's pool. That is basically how it works. There's going to be these things called, like a meta currency called plot points. You can spend plot points to do things like add another die to your pool before you roll, kind of like make a die that you just kind of get to add. Keep a third die for your total, so instead of totaling 2, you total 3. Keep an extra effect die, so if you wanted to take action against multiple things, as long as you spent a plot point, you could keep an extra effect die and assign one effect die to multiple targets. Other things you could do, some special effects say spend a plot point to. How you earn plot points is spend a plot point to do something. Those ones, when you roll dice, any ones, you have to set them aside. I, the GM, will buy those dice from you. Every die I buy from you, I give you a plot point. Where those dice go is to something called the Doom Pool. The Doom Pool sets the difficulty. I can spend dice from the Doom Pool for effects much like plot points that the players do. Whenever you take an action that is not against another character, but just kind of generally trying to do something that's difficult, the Doom Pool becomes the opposition. So, it's also a pacing mechanic.
Does that float between scenes?
Yes.
Or okay.
Yes. So
it's the
it won't
overarching
reset.
kind of.
Yeah.
All right.
So, you can some of your equipment also has a special effect where if you kind of hamper your ability to do something or hinder yourself, you get a plot point as a reward. And we're not tracking ammo in this game, so there's no way we can actually run out. Instead, if you're firing your bolt gun, you can say, I'm going to say I need to reload, shut down this ability, gain a plot point for it, and then I'll have to take an action later on to clear it. So it's more exciting when players decide to do it. Hopefully that makes sense. An extra thing I've done for this one, because weapons matter in 40K, there's 6 weapon types: melee, grenade, pistol, assault rifle, and heavy. And there's a number of range bands. The green arrow means that your weapon is effective at that range. No arrow means you can't use it. Black also means you can't use it at that range. And those red dice, those are ranged dice. They will get added to the opposition's pool when you shoot at something at that range. So it's not like, for example, if you have an assault weapon, it's great at close or short range, not so great at something at medium range. If you do shoot an assault weapon at something at medium range, the opposition will add a D8 to their die pool, making it more difficult for you to succeed.
Penalty.
Yeah.
For okay.
So it's not just a flat no, you can't do it. It's you can, but it's going to be harder to do, and those dice just kind of stack up.
Right.
Doesn't it seem
becomes
strange
extreme.
that heavy is longer range than rifle?
Yes.
Like, put a scope on a sniper rifle and shoot. That's shorter than a guy with like a rocket
That's
launcher.
why sniper rifle got tagged as a heavy weapon. Wah, wah. Basically, what I did is I simplified everything and just said whatever kind of range it shoots at, that's what type of weapon it becomes.
I think heavy in this case is not like maybe a rocket launcher. It's more like a rail gun or something that would
Heavy
be like,
bolter.
Yeah, I understand why you would say that, but also it means it's a
Cumbersome kind of long range weapon.
yeah. It's not something. It's like something you'd use against like a building or a tank or something. Like
It just came up because I was like, oh, I could be a sniper. And then I was like, but my sniper won't shoot as far as a rocket launcher? This isn't going to
It
work.
will.
yeah, it does seem it seems weird,
But that makes sense with what
Also,
you're
you
saying.
don't have to
then,
worry
so.
about making a sniper because I got pre-generated characters.
Yes.
Wah, 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 wah. So,
It's
Would
one
I
of them
be
a sniper?
picking a sniper perhaps still?
didn't make one. I thought about it. I seriously thought about it.
The iron fist of the
Always make
Yeah.
a sniper. Always.
So, are there any questions on that kind of rough breakdown? And of course, stuff will come up as we play things. Okay.
I'm gonna have questions as we play. 'cause
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't understand explanations.
So, I have 5 characters, and Jeremy has very awesomely painted matching miniatures that go with them.
shit! These are
Like,
us.
yeah, that's actually.
Wow!
That's why they're sitting there. They're not just. Yeah.
I thought they were just random.
Nope, they ain't random. So
I assumed that they were us, but I was confused why there were 5. Because I thought
I made 5. I made 5 characters.
But that's what I was saying. I'm like, do you have a character too, or is
No.
it that one of these characters won't get to come
One
on
of
the
these
journey
characters
to
will
get
not
with
get
the
to come on
rest
the
of
journey.
us?
Stress is again like a die. As stress gets inflicted on you, that stress die is going to step up. If it steps up past the D12, you're out of the scene. There are ways to recover stress, so you can just kind of like circle, do stuff like that. Cool. So the characters we have are Brother Astelin, a Dark Angels tactical marine. Dark Angels are the fucking emoist of the Space Marines ever. Like guys wearing a hood, right? Guys wearing a hood. Something super bad happened in their past, but they won't tell anybody about it. So they're all dark and broody. Tactical Marines are pretty flexible. You're armed with pistol, rifle, and chainsword. You have Brother Octavius, the Ultramarines Apothecary. Yes, you're a medic, combat medic. The Ultramarines are the super duper Boy Scouts of the Space Marines. They follow everything to the letter, and they are held up as paragons of what it means to be a Space Marine. The Apothecary pretty much is the battlefield medic, complete with giant fuck-off saw on their medical kit, because how else are you going to get through like 4-inch thick ceramite power armor? Also comes with a bolt pistol to administer the Emperor's mercy if some of your brothers are like too badly damaged. Their Narthesium also has like essentially a UFO catcher to pull out the DNA material of fallen Space Marines, because you then have to implant it in neophytes, and that's the only way you can get the genetic material is by growing it in a Space Marine. So when someone dies, pull out those 2 glands, because we can put it in someone else.
Seems like somebody should have come up with an easier way to get genetic material from
Yeah, really.
Space Marines.
Yeah, really. Brother Raylan, the Blood Angels Devastator Marine, carries a heavy weapon. The Blood Angels are, they get lifted up from an irradiated hell world and turned into like super beautiful kind of angelic people who seek perfection in all things. Unfortunately, they're also called vampires, and eventually as they grow older, they just kind of submit or succumb to something called the Red Thirst and go berserk and have to be put in their own little Legion of the Damned because they can't tell past from present. Yeah. Like I said, you can't play this game straight. Then you have Brother Conrad, who's a black... Oh, sorry. The Devastator Marine, yeah, just comes with a big old fuck-off heavy weapon. Brother Conrad, the Black Templar Tactical Marine. Again, Tactical Marines are kind of super flexible. Comes with, plasma gun, that's right, and a power sword. So basically, you're going to fire something that with like the heat of the sun. Don't miss, because you'll incinerate yourself. The Black Templars are super duper xenophobic, and like anything that deviates pretty much from the standard humanity should be purged with fire. So they get super mad when they see psychers and psychic things and demons. Yeah, and they also don't have a home world. They've just been on a giant 10 millennia long crusade to bring the Emperor's light to humanity.
It's really tough to be xenophobic when you don't even have a home.
They just have actually, it's they don't have a home. They don't have a home world. Every world they conquer, they just build a fortress monastery on it, and then they just take off on their ships and just say, all right, where else do we need to cleanse?
Yeah, they're pissed off at everything.
Pretty much. Yeah. Whoa, what's that? Mutant? All right.
What's that? Literally anything in the world?
Yeah. Sorry, human? Nope. Dead. Then you have Brother Yingvar, The Space Viking. Oh, I mean Space Wolves. Because, yeah, that's pretty much all they are. They're super gregarious. They like to drink and fight. And of all the Space Marines, oh, yeah, their trial is we're going to inject you with this genetic stuff and you're going to turn into a werewolf, but we don't call it that because legal reasons. Good luck getting back to home base. And if you do, we'll fix you. And if you don't, well, you're just going to become an obstacle for the next neophytes to go through, which is like a real bad idea. That's an assault marine, which likes to get up close and personal with their bolt pistol, power maul, and combat shield.
Nick, quick note: we need to swap our angels. So, I mean, based on the miniatures. So, if anybody's looking at pauldrons, they're a little bit wrong.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I've got the Blood Angel as the assault, and the Dark Angel is the Devastator. So,
sorry, about that.
They're both angels.
They're both angels.
They're both angels.
That's the other thing. Like Deathwatch, you paint your armor black as opposed to your chapter color. Your left arm gets painted bright silver to honor the machine god, and your heraldry gets put on your right shoulder. Because they also forgot to mention, everything's like super duper religious, and we don't really understand how machines work, and they work because there's a machine spirit in there that we have to appease with incense, oils, and unguents, and tech priests go around. Yeah.
It strikes me as something that you wouldn't like, given your hatred of combining the separate worlds of magic and sci-fi, like technology.
It's not. Well, okay, there are second powers. This is a bit.
Just saying, if you're burning incense to fix your power armor, I feel like that violates you.
It's not so much that. I think it's kind of funny. I see it a bit as kind of like post-apocalyptic, where we know how to do this thing. It's just been passed on so many times. It's become ritual rather than actual instructions.
The meaning of it.
Yeah, they know the algorithm for how to do it. They just don't know why.
Right. But you also have to do it with the proper incantations and gestures and stuff like that. So it's not
magic.
Yeah.
You gotta do Sudo first, and then
go Chrome.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what people want to pick?
Oh.
There you go, brother. Oh yeah, and you all refer to each other as battle brother.
Hey, bro.
And we shall ignore the fact that guys like it's cool.
If nobody picks the apothecary, is it going to be bad? Like, is there a balance issue? Like
there's no balance issue.
Okay.
Everyone can heal stress. Mm-hmm. The apothecary just does it better.
Okay.
So it's not, and also like I'm kind of curious about how stressed people are actually going to get because
I was going to choose Brother Raylan, but given that the job of the apothecary is to heal stress, I would really
and administer the Emperor's mercy. Should it come to that? Can you do
this
that?
is sounding good. So I'm going to choose Brother Octavius.
None of these guys were heavy class, right?
You got the
Brother Raylan's heavy.
Brother Raylan's heavy.
And he's the emo one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Who
No,
plays
that was
the
the-
emo
Oh,
one?
sorry, no, that was Brother Estelin.
It's they're swapped. Yeah.
So I guess since all that is about the Blood Angels, the shoulder pauldron is actually the wrong.
Yeah,
angel.
Is he shooting a flamethrower?
The Blood Angels are the space vampires.
Yes, the
And the
perfectionists.
Dark Angels are the space emos.
Yes.
Yeah.
It seems like a flamethrower /
Yes, it's
machine
not-
gun.
In the actual Kill Team game that model is for, that's exactly what it is.
Yes.
It is a heavy flamer, heavy bolter. I've only made it a heavy bolter in this one.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's
So just
a
the
gun
top.
It's a
Yeah.
gun.
that has an unnecessary emo amount
You're
of
talking about
additional
Warhammer
things on it
40,000.
for aesthetic.
Nothing is unnecessary.
You're on fire and you're being shot
Yes,
at.
exactly.
For sure. I'll play this out then.
The heavy?
Sure.
It's to keep them warm.
I'll be
All
emo.
right.
That's true. I can light fires at night. If it won't be a weapon, it'll just be like a giant lighter.
Yeah, cigarette
Lighter
lighter,
campfires, you know.
Actually,
It'll be really cool by lighting each other's cigarettes with a flamethrower.
It's like, yo, Raylan, hit me with some of that Promethean. All right, there we go. Just nothing but like ash. Because with all their like gills and lungs and the filtration systems, like they probably could smoke whatever they wanted and have no ill effects.
Or
It'd be like in
good
Ghost of the
effects.
Shell where they drink liquor formulated for cyborgs, but then if they get a call, they trigger shit in their body and then they're like sober in like 9 seconds.
Yeah.
They're just like, we gotta go to work. Click.
Yeah. Except
That sounds like the worst.
except the ale that the Space Wolves brew, which would eat the stomach out of a normal man, but they guzzle in vast quantities because they're space Vikings. What do you want, emo or xenophobic asshole?
I guess I'll go with xenophobic asshole because I live abroad, so that makes the most sense.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, no one wants
Yeah,
to be spacey.
so the other thing, and I blame Twitch completely on this, is the fact that the xenophobic asshole has an alien technology.
Oh, look at that! Does he have the xenophage? Yeah. So, on your character sheet, you'll notice there are a whole fuck ton of columns, some of which are black and some of which have a gray header.
Okay.
Cool.
I was just wondering.
So, distinctions, Astartes, war gear, attributes, and cohesion are the four mandatory core traits. Whenever you make a die pool, you will most likely be using those four things, unless there is some overwhelming reason why it doesn't make sense. Distinction, you can either use it as a D8 or as a D4 and get yourself a plot point. It's because D4s roll 1 so much easily, they don't really add anything to the total and they cause more problems. So that's why if you use it to hurt yourself, you get rewarded with a plot point. Basically, everyone has 3 distinctions. I've tried to word them so that you could figure out how to use them positively or negatively. Attributes, you have agility, intelligence, vitality, awareness, strength, and willpower. There's nothing social because anything social you do will fall under one of those 6 things. Astartes war gear, Space Marines come with a hell of a lot of gear. Basically, you're going to pick one of those based on which weapon you are using. The die is the one you include in your die pool. If you see something called SFX, that's special effects. Basically, every weapon has something fancy pants it can do. Like nobody picked like the bolter or bolt pistol, rapid fire, double bolter. So instead of rolling an 8, you would add 2 d8s to your pool. They also, many things have a limit, such as again bolt pistol and bolter. It says reload, shut down bolt pistol, meaning you cannot use that piece of gear, but you gain a plot point for it. Then you take an action against the Doom Pool to recover. Basically, so until you actually succeed at an action against the Doom Pool, you do not get to use that power. Again, it's voluntary. Stunts, in the top left, there's 2 stunts. Those are not attached to any kind of die, but they're special abilities you can do if something triggers them, or if you choose to do it. Hero dice, I'll get to a bit later, and stress is where you track your stress. Stress functions like a complication, where if you do have stress, it will be added to the opposition's dice pool, making it more difficult for you to succeed the more damaged you are.
And then in the case where it's a non-specific target, that's the Doom Pool?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, the setup. So, you've all been a kill team for a while. You are stationed in none of this actually, but for flavor. You're stationed in the Jericho Reach, which is an area that's being attempted to be reclaimed by the Imperium. So there are like loyal worlds going on, but there's also like worlds that have fallen to heresy and kind of alien worlds that you have to cleanse, and threats coming from the Imperium, which is warp space, and all this stuff. You have been tasked to assist Inquisitor Calistrati. You don't have to write this down if you don't want to, since it's not a campaign. I'm not going to go, haha, gotcha, you forgot. Just ask and I'll remind you. Did you like this piece of script?
Well, we only have to remember it for one day.
All right, Castrati.
Yep. Calistrati.
I looked at the other way.
Calamari. So, Inquisitor Calistrati has been on the planet of Avaros, following what is a potential genestealer infestation.
What?
And as Adeptus Astartes of the Deathwatch, you know that genestealers are horrible 4-armed insectile things that, man, they love fucking spreading genetic information in this thing, don't they? Basically can infect a populace to produce kind of like mutants and hybrids and stuff like that. They're the alien, fucking aliens. They're super dangerous because they're also a vanguard organism of a larger, super kind of like space locust alien called the Tyranids. Think of the things from Independence Day. Basically, everything in their army or their force is organic. They just bombard a planet, strip it absolutely bare, complete with like oceans, atmosphere, everything, and just move on.
So the goal of the genestealers is just to disrupt and weaken what's there so they can...
That's what the leading theory seems to be, and then once the hybrids and stuff reach critical mass, there's kind of act like a psychic beacon so that the hive fleet of the Terrans...
I was just about to say, the other ones, are they hive-like in
Oh,
nature?
of course. So you've been dispatched to the planet of Avaros, which is an agro-world, kind of towards the eastern edge of the Jericho Reach. Basically, the only thing it does is produce food and livestock, then get shipped off planet to sustain the huge war effort. There's a single city on the planet.
It's like space Iowa.
Pretty much. So, you are all on the sword-class frigate, the Valiant, and your 2-week journey from Watch Fortress, like Ariok, to Avalos was pretty uneventful. Everyone else was super-duper respectful and awestruck of these 2.5-meter tall armored giants who are incarnate of the Emperor himself.
Oh, we're not on a ship with others like us?
No.
These are just everyday humans?
Galley
Meant to carry us
slaves.
around? Or
We're flying coach. Do we have jet lag?
No, you don't have jet lag. What you would have is Imperium lag, and you better pray to the Emperor that Geller field doesn't fail, because then shit's gonna get, what's that movie? Event Horizon.
Wait,
Basically,
immaterial
think
lag?
Star Wars, where you travel through the warp, or Star Trek, where you travel kind of through
Hyperspace
the
sort of
warp,
thing?
hyperspace, but you're going through hell. But so you exit, you're in around orbit, and a bunch of Tyranid drone ships basically come around the moon, the far side of Avalos' moon, and one of the last loyal acts of the captain is to launch your guys' drop pod. So you now have that scene from Star Wars where you're just like looking out as basically the Valiant sword class frigate just gets hammered by bioplasma from these things and buckles. So you are in your drop pod, and like a few seconds before impact, you get a course change by a signal on planet, and your drop pod comes crashing down through the roof of an Imperial Cathedral, smashes into the ground. Drop pod, again, you guys have been on a drop pod like hundreds, if not like thousands of times, so this is all like totally not surprising for you. You are the Emperor's finest, the Angels of Death.
ODSTs of the Warhammer world.
Yes, yes. And yeah, you step out of your drop pod. I just kind of like poop you guys around, whatever. Yeah, it is night. It is pouring down rain. Armor, like rain spatters off your armor as you step from your drop pod from the hole you smashed in the top of this cathedral. From outside of the massive cathedral doors in front of you, you can hear a running gun battle, the snap of last gunfire, barked commands, a roar of a very large and somewhat distant crowd, and the night is basically lit up with fires. There you go. That's the sound. There's very obviously something happening outside.
The Vanguard bug creatures, I'm sorry, I forget the name.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
They destroyed our ship on the way in, and so they're smarter than they're like sentient level creatures, or if they're capable of building ships and destroying spaceships and all these things.
The ships themselves might not be sentient. There's like a massive Gestalt intelligence that drives the Tyranid forces. Probably think they're like a giant ant colony.
So like the individual ones are not smart,
Yes.
but like overall they might be able to execute like tactics and stuff.
Yeah, that's really what
There's like
I was
a
asking about.
synapse. There's kind of like a synapse node. The will of the hive mind gets kind of channeled down through larger creatures, which kind of distribute it to other ones. So a very effective tactic is to take out those larger creatures to disrupt the smaller swarms. So the ships themselves probably were not sentient, but things like genestealers, kind of vanguard organisms, who rely on stealth, have more autonomy than invasion creatures.
So the ship. Oh, you're saying like the ship shot on the other ship of
Yes,
its own
yes.
thinking. In other words, like it's a living.
It was
ship.
probably instinct. It was probably like, here's prey.
Enemy.
Here's prey. Nya, 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 nya.
So the back the
Sounds
the
like
ones
a
that
lot.
are coming after, are they on the same ship, or are they like separate ships?
Only, like
later? Or is this like?
you
I was just curious. Is this like a ship that's just the ship and these the people who are there now, or is it like everybody's on that ship?
No, it was just like, you mean for the Space Marine ship?
In other words, like if we were battling these things down here, is it possible that the main people could come down from the same ship? In other words, are they like sitting up in space looking down at the battle?
If there was a Tyranid invasion, you would know it, because there would be like mycetic spores raining from the sky, cracking open to like disgorge hundreds of these like skittering, chittering monstrosities that just start eating fucking everything.
Well, it's good to know.
Yeah. As Space Marines, you know that. So like, if this was a full-on Tyranid invasion, like, yeah, you're going to need everybody to fend it off, and you're probably still going to lose. What's happened
they
is
would come in other ships on top.
Yes,
of
they
what's
would come in
already
other
here. That's
ships,
really
yes.
what I was curious. I didn't know if we should be prepared that at some point the Tyranids might start coming down and
that probably will happen, because you've dealt with genestealers before. You know that exactly as you said, genestealers as kind of the infiltration organisms can operate independently and are specifically kind of seeded on planets to disrupt local populaces and kind of throw things into confusion before the massive invasion, just so that it's that much easier to just scour the planet clean. So while you aren't seeing there wasn't like a Tyranid fleet out there, you know that the fact that there were drone ships and the fact that the Inquisitor was kind of hunting up an genestealer infestation, it's kind of only a matter of time before the genestealers kind of send off that psychic beacon and the tendrils of a Tyranid fleet do indeed start rolling in.
Cool.
We got 4 of us. This will be
Yeah,
okay.
this should be
Yeah.
good.
I mean,
4 of us against
We each take a million. We should be
well, I mean,
good.
if we're taking this by Spartan kind of logic, we're way ahead of the game here.
Let's lock and load,
We
bro.
just funnel them through those
As
doors.
the Ultramarine, who may be a Tyrannic War veteran, knows, like, you extra hate those fucking Tyranid bugs, because they just wiped out your entire first company. So what do you guys want to do?
Lock and load.
I meant in the game, not
Oh.
ordinary.
So these spires, like, we know that they're not shit's not supposed to be on fire, right? Because it seems pretty obvious.
What do you think? We're going to go have a cookout while we think about what's going to happen?
No, I mean, I'm not from here.
Okay.
I don't know what
Nobody
their
is, yeah.
customs are. I don't know what they do here. Like, maybe it's like every Friday they they have big bonfires or whatever before the high school football game. Like,
You should step outside and see what's going on.
I think
Oh, we're
already
not
out-
outside?
I thought
No,
we were
like
already
you're still in the
outside.
chapel. The front doors are
Crashing out
open,
into the chapel.
and you hear
No.
what sounds like an actual battle going on outside.
Oh, okay. Well, then yeah, let's take a step out into the open and see what's going on.
As awesome as that board is, I'm just gonna do.
Do it. Go. Oh, you can. Okay, you can.
Only because I need to kind of mark zones.
Sure.
I don't think I have it actually.
This is some XCOM shit.
Oh, okay.
Save.
Let me write down. Let me write down and get my phone.
Did you use the right browser?
I'm muttering a prayer
I don't know.
of forgiveness to the Emperor for desecrating the cathedral.
Oh yeah, good. For
You were
desecrating
in Chrome. There's a
cathedral,
good
sure.
chance you did it in Firefox before. But like, is it like every turn is this, or like
It's a
like
bit,
we don't take a turn to go outside? It seems we just
No, no,
decided
no.
we'll go outside.
We're kind of in narrative time now.
Okay.
Once we kind of get, and this is a slightly more action game than we're kind of used to with Monster Hearts. Once we kind of get to more kind of combat-y things, which you're Space Marines, that's all you fucking do. We're just going to establish who goes first. After that person has kind of taken their action, they will nominate someone else to go, unless or until I interrupt that.
It's like a roll initiative kind of situation. Like,
So you're probably going first because you're like miles above pretty much anything else. So for example, if Jeremy went first, he would kind of like take an action, we'd resolve that action, and then Jeremy would nominate someone else to go.
Oh, I see.
And then within like an individual person's turn,
So, for example, let's say Jeremy.
or is there there's taking action right here.
There you go. Yeah. So basically, you assemble a die pool, which is going to be a die from your distinction, your attribute, a piece of war gear usually, and cohesion. Cohesion is a trait that everyone gets. Because you're a team and you're used to working as a team, cohesion is a die that can step up. It starts at a 6, and everyone kind of gets to use it, add it to your pool. Stepping it up means now it becomes an 8. You step it up by creating an asset for a team member, or by reducing stress or a complication on a team member. You can also, before you roll, voluntarily step it back to earn a plot point. So, like, for example, I've got Brother Astelin here. Let's say Brother Astelin was taking a shot at someone. So, distinction. You know what? I'm feeling kind of light on plot points, so I'm going to take mysterious. You rarely speak, and your pronouncements are laced with prophecy and dark intuition. I'm not going to really tell people what I'm going to do, so I'm going to use it as a D4, and that gets me a plot point. Then agility is for shooting stuff, so I'm going to take a D8 for agility. Cohesion is still at a D6. Astartes War Gear. I'm going to fire my Astartes Bolter, which is another D8, which is this one here. So I've got a D4, 2 D8s, and a D6. Let's say I'm firing something that's a rifle, so that's 1, 2, 3 range field. So I'm not firing anything farther away. I'm going to do that. None of those dice rolled a 1, so I get to keep them all. I'm going to pick 2 to make as my total. Let's go with a 5. Jeez. Okay, a 5 and a 3. That's a pretty crap roll. So my total is 8. And I'm going to keep this D8 as an effect die, which, if I am successful, I will use to inflict stress on my opponent. Because, remember, the size of the effect die matters, not the number. D4 is pretty crappy. Yeah, so I've got a total of 8. So then whatever I was shooting at would do something similar. If they rolled less than an 8, I would inflict a D8 worth of stress, which is probably enough to take out mooks. Sorry, low-ranking NPCs. Yeah. It's not going to, like, if you notice, like, your stress goes up to a D12. So if this hit a Space Marine, if you failed your reaction to either kind of weather the attack, you would then get a D8 worth of stress.
And that stress carries along until you do something to get rid of it in a future turn?
Yes. Or a future scene. And if you got hit again with stress, if the effect die was higher than a D8, it would jump up to whatever that effect die was. If it was lower than a D8, it keeps stepping up. So getting plinged by little shots will eventually take you out of the scene. So what you see when you step outside. So you step out of the cathedral doors, these massive bronze things. You have stepped into what is a running gunfight. There is a barricade of hastily made, like, masonry that's fallen off the cathedral, bodies, there's a burnt out tank over here, everything is sort of like this hastily made barricade. Planetary Defense Force with their last guns, you're looking at about like 600 of them, this is not to scale it by any means. Kind of steps to the cathedral, they've cleared the courtyard into like a killing zone that's full of kind of like a couple monuments, but it's mostly just empty. Back here you have like a vast mob of what look like sort of rioting citizens. Back here you've got like burnt out husks of buildings, and yeah, off in the distance you can see there are just uncontrolled like fires going off all over the city. So yeah, shit is fucked, and this is probably not the way things are supposed to be here on Avalos there, Brother Octavius. This is not the Friday night bonfire for the football team. Like, the planet appears to be, if not already, like, on the verge of full-scale rebellion.
And you said it's a running gunfight.
Oh, okay, I said running, but no one's really moving because they're all behind the barricade.
All right.
Wait, on the verge of full-scale rebellion. Isn't this one of our planets?
It is.
So
why wouldn't they be rebelling against the Emperor because they're being attacked by a foreign enemy?
No. Dude, being a normal citizen in the Imperium fucking sucks. Like the only thing this planet does is make food to ship off world for the war effort. Also, remember that Inquisitor Calistrati came to this planet intentionally following a lead on a possible genestealer infestation. And what the genestealers do is they kind of infect local populace and rile stuff up so that local forces are tied up when that Tyranid fleet rolls in.
So it's the Russian interference of the.
Pretty much.
So we have to fight everybody, in other words, possibly.
Yeah, like I said, barricade, open space, open space.
So do we see
Riot
like who
lines.
is shooting? Who is like?
You have men, because there are no women in the 40k universe, men in uniform of very close to the Astra Militarum, which are kind of like the normal human kind of forces here, shooting at, with your heightened senses, you can probably see what looks like just rioting citizens.
Okay, all right.
And there is weapon fire coming back. Who wants to?
We just crash landed in this cathedral.
Like,
So, like-
what's up, bros?
So like they're not expecting like backup. So we're just like, hail, citizen.
Yeah, you're not expecting backup. In fact, like, okay, the way long range communication happens in this universe is psychics.
That's awesome, but I think you were saying that the regular human military guys were not expecting us.
Yeah, you've lost your ship. You don't really have any long range communications. Finding the astropath on this, what used to be apparently Imperial world, is a fairly high priority because, as you all know, genestealer infestation, those drone ships I mentioned before, is probably only a matter of time before a tendril of like a massive Tyranid hive fleet envelops this planet.
The astropath are the enemy, the bug enemies? Not
No, sorry, the
not the humans?
Tyranids.
Oh, you
Are
said
the-
astropath.
Yeah, so like that would be your finding the astropath on this planet in this main city would be how you would communicate the situation back to the Imperium.
Oh, the astropath is the psychic.
Yes,
influence
sorry,
thing.
yes, the psychic.
The
Yes.
psychic communicator. Okay.
Think of it as toss a frag grenade because
Hello.
Somebody doesn't actually.
I like
roll.
subtlety. I'm aware. of
Sure. The only thing is that range band. So you guys are
Grenade. Yeah.
you're all here.
Oh, it has to
Kind
be
of
closer.
yeah. The next range
I see.
band is where the barricade is.
You could throw it out there as a warning. Like,
Good.
don't come any closer.
Then you got kind of two things of killing field here. Most of the kind of like riding citizens are out here. Then out here are ruins.
Woo! Murder! Awesome!
Pretty much.
Brother Octavius would counsel you that these people
Those
cannot be
thoughts.
saved. They have turned away from the light.
Conspiracy.
Yes, of the Emperor, and so therefore they are in violation.
Well,
and they must be cleansed.
You can't throw a grenade that far.
Yeah.
Can't like my bolter is a heavy weapon, isn't it?
Yep.
So isn't that
Yeah.
So
that can
That's
go?
perfect for that
That
distance,
can
right?
go 4
Yeah.
distance without having to roll with the additional, so I could hit them with it.
So it's a red die because it's not an additional. It's like
But heavy,
it's a
right?
complication that would get added to the opponent's.
But
Dice
it's not
with-
5 away, is it?
No,
it's 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, 4. So
Yeah.
right, you're right at range.
Because I also have. Wait.
So the heavy weapon has every Space Marine has their power armor, a combat knife, 3 frag grenades, 3 crack grenades. Frag is fragmentation. Crack is kind of more localized.
Armor piercing.
Yeah, armor piercing stuff. Probably have a bolt pistol
I do have a bolt pistol,
and then some other kind of weapon.
but a pistol doesn't shoot.
No, the difference between a pistol is pistol can actually be used when you're engaged in melee combat. Other ranged weapons cannot because they are too bulky.
Wait, so when I'm already engaged.
So in other words,
Too close, you can't
think
use
of the
it.
movie Aliens, right? If an alien gets right up on you,
you can't use it.
you can use a pistol because it's small enough. Another ranged weapon is too bulky to use in melee combat. That's the opposite of the pistol. Short range, but you can use it in close combat.
Just as a. Because I've just read these through.
Mhm.
The
My
power
goodness,
armor,
dramatic.
which seems like it must be defensive, it
Yes.
says I can step back.
Yes.
The power armor to step back that stress. If
Right.
I take stress from a physical attack, does that mean like I'm physically taking a step back?
No. So if you step back a die, it means it goes from whatever it is to the next smallest die size. So power armor is currently a 10. Stepping back your power armor means it's now a D8.
And it would stay at a D8
It would stay at a
unless I
D8
somehow repair it or
until
something.
you repair it, unless and until you repair it. Correct.
And the end result of that is that I roll with a smaller die when facing down some enemy attack.
Yes.
for defense.
So it's kind of like you reduce the amount of stress you're taking now at the expense of reducing your armor. Hence the reason I named that a blade.
Cool. Well, so I think I'm the only one who can attack from this far away, right?
Movement is kind of nebulous. Basically, you can, if you want to move farther than a single range band, that's pretty much all
we
you're
have to
doing.
jump back from behind cover, which I was hoping to not be the first person to have to do this, because then I will be able to watch someone else do it. But okay,
Yeah.
so I go to try to shoot somebody.
Okay, so basically you're looking at around like roughly kind of like 8 knots of riding citizens. I mean, there's like fuck ton more riding citizens back here. I mean, like the whole city has gone pretty much
Berserk.
But,
Berserk
so
for heretic.
I get a D10,
So start with the distinction.
Yeah.
a distinction.
Yep. So top left.
Yeah.
Do any of those seem like they would help or hinder in the situation?
Are these distinctions the plot point? No.
Basically, if a distinction would be helpful, you add a D8 to your pool. If a distinction would hinder you, you add a D4, but you get a plot point.
They're basically like character skills.
Yeah, they're kind of things that are intrinsic to your character.
Interesting.
For purposes, the first one is relates to your chapter. The middle one is your personal character, and the last one is your armor spirit.
I was just thinking that the third one actually makes some sense. The machine spirit of your armor constantly scans for targets, making small adjustments to your aim, but has a palpable distaste for close combat.
There you go. So there's your D8. What's that distinction name?
None escape the Emperor's wrath.
That's right. Because none escape the Emperor's wrath.
How'd you come up with that name?
I pulled a lot of these from the Deathwatch RPG, which is a completely different system that I don't really like a lot.
So you took things you liked from it and threw the rest of it?
Yeah.
Solid.
Okay, so next is
So-
an attribute. Since you're firing a weapon, that is probably going to be agility.
Okay.
So that's another
Yeah.
D8. Yep, that's a D8 right there. Then, which piece of Astartes war gear are you using? Heavy bolter?
Yeah, what's the one can hit from
Which
back
is a
here?
D10.
So that's a 10.
It also has that special effect. That's a
10.
12.
That's a 12.
Yeah, there's a 10. So it also has that special effect, I believe, where you can triple heavy bolter, but you get penalties. So if you just want to take a single shot. Then
For luck.
cohesion.
Need a match set here.
Yeah.
Cohesion is currently at. You're surrounded by your battle brothers. You're all kind of coordinated because it's all simultaneous. So cohesion is currently a D6. So add a D6 to your pool as well. Do you mind if I stick a sticky note on that board? Cool. So that sounds like your die pool because no one has any plot points. So you can't spend a plot point to add a
But
die.
step up cohesion when you give an asset to or take or step back a complication
So-
on a kill team member.
Since you
So
are
do I pick somebody to give an asset to or something?
no, because it sounds like your goal is to inflict stress on an opponent.
Yeah, that would be if you were doing
Basically, there's-
something that would
yeah.
get it would like
Oh, if I was
specifically
helping
Basically,
somebody.
if you're
give us
helping
some
someone
kind of
else,
benefit,
yes. So this is just straight up murder riding citizens.
But if I'm not trying to help someone or limit infighting, then what would the total impact of that D6 end up being? Is that
You added a D6 to your pool. If later on in the scenario someone does make an asset
Oh,
for someone
okay.
else,
Then it
it'll
sticks.
step up to
I
an
see.
8, and then everybody gets to use an 8. Basically, it's a mechanic that encourages people to help each other because you're a fucking team.
so? In other words, like so I roll all
Yep.
4 at the same time.
Yep,
I take aim at some pathetic little human
pretty much.
with a rusted old
Just-
gun they dug out of the ground,
Pick a color.
reminiscent of a Kalashnikov rifle.
Pick a color.
I take aim at the person on the side, the red.
Okay.
That's what, and you said that's not a literal person, or is it?
No, it's not a. These are just representations of
About, like,
the
groups
knots
of
of
people?
riders. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm colorblind, so it looks orange. It looks orange to me.
Okay, so
So
So now you need to choose which ones you want to use for which. Is the
yes,
thing.
so you're going to total 2 of them, and you're going to keep another. First of all, did any of those roll ones?
no,
Okay.
I got 2, but no ones.
Okay. So total the value of 2 of them, and then keep a third for your effect die. Remember
And the size of the effect
Yes.
die is the thing that matters, not
Yes.
the
You
number
want the
of
effect die to be higher.
Right.
But
higher
you can't-
higher has
yeah.
a better chance of taking
The most
that die.
side, the most sides.
Yeah, yeah.
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 Oh, the most of the sides
Yeah,
of the die,
yes.
not the actual.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
not
that
the-
way you roll.
And so for doing the attack, because I'm picking these two to count towards the attack, right?
Yes.
Is that, how does that play out? Is it like if I do 8, you do 8 damage sort of thing? Or
No.
is it like if
Whatever
I get
die
up over
you
a
pick-
certain level?
Whatever die you picked as the effect die is the amount of stress you will inflict on the target if I do not roll high
It's like
enough
the
to
size
beat
of the die.
Oh, so the
itself is
2 I'm
value.
picking, you're going to roll,
Yes.
and if I'm higher than you, I win out. And
You're
if I'm
successful.
not, I'm not.
Yes.
So I see there could be reasons to balance between
Yes.
the two you pick
Which is
for the
which is
8
why I
and
like
2
the
thing.
system.
Right.
A
so
higher die gives you a higher value, giving you a higher total, but you also want to use the higher dice for an effect die.
Yes. So you want to choose the smallest
So it
dice for
often
your
be
total.
good, in like generally that for while picking the 2, if you had say a 6 and a smaller sided die, you could put with the 2 that you're taking for that. If let's say you have this 2 of the same number, it'd be better. And one of them's going to go towards the pair of 2, and one of them's going to go to the effect. It'd be better to put the one with more sides on the effect.
Yes.
Yes.
Because on
yes.
the pair of 2, it's the number total, not the combination of the size of the die.
Correct.
Okay.
Also, if your total is 5 higher than the opposition, you step up your effect die.
Nice.
Oh.
You step it up for every 5 points higher you are.
And what are you going to roll with, or do we not know until like? Like, does it
I'll
vary
be
based on
honest.
enemies?
So the
or
Doom
something?
pool is going to start at 2d6.
Okay.
So if you would do something not against a specific target, I would just roll this and total them for my difficulty number. But you're actually targeting something. So what it's going to be, these are, I'll be completely honest, these are rebels. They're a standard threat, which gives me a d6. They're undisciplined. So I'm going to take that as a d4, which hinders me a bit, and adds a d6 to the Doom pool, because I want to increase that. Their attribute, this would probably just be Vitality, which is just a crappy kind of d6. They do not have armor of any kind. All they have is crude melee weapons and a stub rifle. So that's what I'm looking at for my pool.
Okay, so I would
Actually,
assume it'd be
so,
best to take the D10 as an effect, and then these 6 and 5 as the pair, right?
Cool. So just whatever die you didn't use, toss back in the
pool?
Yeah. Okay. So also these represent groups of antagonists. So there's my distinction. I added the pool. It was the Vitality, their threat, and their threat is actually 3d6 because they represent groups of people rather than an individual. So that is my die pool, a d4 and 4d6.
I got an 11. That's not too bad.
So I'm going to roll this. I'm definitely going to do that.
That's
So-
not good.
Wow, Space Marines! All right.
I thought I was doing okay with an 11. That's the best I can pull off of it.
That's our first day.
So my total is 12.
God, this is the streak continuing from the Monster Hearts and
It
Sprawl.
is.
That's what it
You
is.
don't get experience for fucking up the roll. So this was a reaction, right? I was doing something in response to another character taking action. I technically pick an effect die, but I can't really use it for anything because I was not the active character. Some things like chain swords have a reaction where, on a reaction, if I rolled higher than you, I can use my effect die as stress because I parry and cut you the fuck up. They don't have anything like that. So all that happens is, yes, if you had a plot point, or, sorry, if you had, there's something on your sheet called a hero die.
Yeah.
If you roll 5 higher than the target number, you add the highest rolling die in the opposing pool as a hero die. So in other words, if you had 1, my highest rolling die is a 6, Andrew would have banked a d6 hero die.
And what does that do? I can just spend that in the future to improve my odds on things?
Yes, and it's special because you can add it after I've rolled my total, and you can see whether or not you need to increase your total or not.
So you can see whether or not it'd be wasted or
Yes.
useful. In other words.
Yes.
So it's like a one-time use thing.
You spend a plot point because you can bank more than 1 hero die. You spend a plot point, then you say, I'm going to roll this extra die and add it to my total in an attempt to beat you. So yeah. So unfortunately, Brother Raylan's heavy bolter shot just goes cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. You know what? Space Marines don't fucking miss. So a bunch of like rioting citizens just get like chewed the fuck up with these shells that are the size of Coke fucking cans. And they're actually self-propelled missiles that detonate when they hit their target because that's what bolt guns fire. But there's just so many of them. They kind of like don't notice.
Not the
So-
majority of them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like.
With stormtrooper accuracy.
Okay. Yeah. So, that's right. Brother Raylan,
Modern stormtrooper.
please nominate someone to go next.
So what happens to this effect die then?
You,
Because I normally don't keep this.
Nothing?
It just goes
No,
to the doom
it just
pool
goes
now?
back. No, it just goes back to the pool.
So all of this goes back
Yeah,
to the pool.
yeah. That's why, like, you don't keep dice from turn to turn. The only thing that kind of builds up is the doom pool. So that's why there's just kind of a central pool of die.
Except for when you have like.
Like,
I
except for
I
stress.
didn't know if this went to the doom pool because I lost the roll.
No, no.
Okay. So then I got to pick someone to go next.
The only dice that will go to the doom pool are dice that you roll ones on. I will add those to the doom pool and give you a plot point for each die I buy that way.
Ah, okay. So I go like.
Which is why you see kind of like a D4, higher chance of rolling a 1, which is why you get a bonus when you choose to add it to your pool.
Okay.
So I go like. I say something to the effect of, "There are so many of them," you know, looking to the team members.
With the longest range.
Looking to support for the team members. Like,
I'm
which
having
one
a-
of them might have.
I'm having a plasma
Let's do this.
rifle, so a little bit of movement, and
Yep.
I might be okay.
Rifle goes 3. 1, 2, 3. So long as you hopped up on that barrier.
Okay.
Yeah, Brother Octavius.
So I look to you. I see a glint of murder in your eye,
Yes.
and I try to communicate encouragement.
You all have little Vox channels in your
Oh,
right.
except for the space wolf over there, brother. What?
Maybe it's like.
Who?
Ingvar.
Yingvar, who probably is not wearing a helmet.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. How else are your wolf sense is going to function? Oh, here's
Yeah.
pizza. So it sounds like you were nominating Jeremy or
Yeah.
Brother Conrad to go next.
See, like my bullets are too small. We need a spread out.
Too small. That sounds like heresy to me. Sounds like Brother Octavius needs to administer some admonishment.
Only a poor warrior blames his
Admonition,
weapons.
Yeah, administer some admonishment, or whatever it is. Yeah, yeah. If you want to say that, because why did I make that name?
Ingvar. It's
Yeah, Yingvar.
Yeah.
Just be like shoulders out of the way, be like out of the way.
Yeah.
So, how does moving
Leaping
work?
over.
Does that just take an action?
Basically,
like this
one range band is free.
Yeah.
Well, like here's the thing. Like if Brother Yingvar over there, like you have like 600-ish planetary defense forces over here, and you can tell they're getting like the worst of it over here. I mean, the morale got bolstered a little bit when the Angels of Death showed up, because yay, Emperor. But if you wanted to make an asset that's something like improves morale, whatever, with that howl, or if you wanted to intimidate the fuck out of someone over there, it would be a complication.
Yeah, I want to do that. I want to.
That's the thing.
650.
I
Thank
want
you.
to scare the shit out of some people with my howling.
So they look up and see you do what? The enemies look up and see you do what?
Yeah, they'd see me like standing on top of the barricade and just like howling and looking scary as shit.
Yeah, like it is pouring down rain too, and there's like heavy metal stuff going on in the background. So just like
There's a lightning strike as I
of
jump
course,
off.
yeah.
What if they're just like, we love this music?
Can I interest you in playing the noise marines?
Okay, so for that kind of role,
Yep.
where
So
my
which
goal
one's
is
the
to create complications
Yep.
for the enemy.
Precise change.
Is that sort of like a general effect, not like targeted?
No, because you're targeting, like an asset is kind of not targeted because anyone on your side could use it. Directing it against a specific group, like a complication, would be against a roll against
Okay,
them.
so I can't like terrify everybody. I'm just gonna make like one specific group of people like.
No, like if you wanted to terrify everybody and have your allies benefit from it, I would say make an asset.
Okay, that works.
Right, so it would be kind of like a floating thing that everyone could use on your
Cool.
side rather than attached to someone else.
Okay.
The thing
So
is,
make an asset.
normally when you make an asset, you designate who it is for. Normally it's yourself. You could make it for someone else. If you spend a plot point, you can make it available for anyone to use.
But you need a pop.
But you need a plot
But I would
point,
need a
which
plot
in this
point for
case
that.
means you're using a distinction at a D4, getting a plot point, then immediately spending it to make that asset.
But then also
Yeah,
risking the doom pool.
Exactly, risking the doom.
Well, sounds like the kind of thing
Yeah.
a wolf would do.
Yeah. Wolf.
Cool. So,
Oh. Yeah.
hey, I made
so
it through
good
that Canis
four.
Helix kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so that one was yours, the power
Yeah,
ball and the
yeah.
combat shield.
So I'm
Jump forward up
grabbing-
onto the barricade. So start with your distinction, which is probably
Yeah.
going to be a D4. So,
Yeah. I'll say that's my gregarious, maybe? No. Savage Sons of Fenris.
Savage Sons of Fenris.
Yeah.
Because that's what the planet's name.
Yeah.
Where else would wolf people come
Of course.
from?
And
So was
what
that a
should
D4?
this- Yeah, because I want to get
Yep,
that plot
so then there's
point.
your plot point.
Thank you. And
Which
then from
attribute?
there, is that like awareness? Maybe? No. Intelligence?
I
Being
would
super
probably
friendly
go with
to my friends and
in this one I would possibly go with willpower.
willpower?
Because you're using your force of will to kind of intimidate the enemy,
okay.
which results in this thing. So grab a
Makes
D8
sense.
for willpower.
Yeah.
I mean, what you're doing kind of reminds me of encourage from
Yeah. Yeah.
Divinity. You know, jump up, encourage, and on over top of everybody's heads on your side.
Yeah.
Encourage.
D8, and then
Cohesion.
cohesion is
which
just a
still
D6 still.
And here's the thing. I doubt any of your Astartes war gear would help in this situation.
Nope.
But, however, if for some reason you cannot use one of these kind of mandatory traits, add a D6 instead.
Oh, okay. So
You're kind of
D6.
always going to roll those 4 dice. If you can't do one, the one's going to be a D6.
And then I spend a plot point in order to make it a group asset
True, but you could do that after you roll.
after I roll.
Like,
Okay.
that's what you're going to do, but you don't really have to do it just now.
Okay.
Because you might go, wow, that's a shit roll.
Mm.
So then,
Fair
yep,
enough.
roll those.
Come on, dice.
Better than me, hopefully.
So, total 2 of them.
You should roll a 1.
Yeah, none of those are ones.
And the effect die is still it's still important
Yeah.
to have.
Basically, whatever effect die you use, that will be the die that gets put over here as the asset that will then get added to everyone else's pool.
It's not quite as good, but I really just want to make it work, so
Yeah.
I'm going to take those 2 for 12.
Okay.
And
your
then
total
this is my
12.
effect die, and this
your-
guy goes back.
Yep, so your effect die is going to be
Because
okay.
if you had swapped and done the other, the 10 out or whatever, you
The-
lost the with 7.
Then it wouldn't matter
Then it wouldn't
anyway.
do anything.
Yeah.
So the thing is, since you're taking an action against kind of the environment rather than a specific person, I roll the Doom Pool. The Doom Pool is currently at 3d6.
And tie goes,
Tie goes to the
Yay.
defender. Well, that's crappy. So the highest I got is 7.
huzzah!
So what
In
do
the event
you
of a
want?
tie, what happens? If
it
if
goes
the
to-
Jake
it
gave you
goes-
7 and then you just rolled 7.
It goes to meet the reaction.
Mm.
So what do you want to call that asset?
Wolfpack.
So your effect die was a D8.
D4. Or sorry, D6, sorry.
Oh, D6, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Wolfpack D6. So here's where you spend that plot point to make it. You can spend a plot point to make an asset last longer than a scene, or be useful for anyone.
Useful for anyone.
And if you look at cohesion,
It can go up because I've given an asset to the group.
exactly. So cohesion now steps up to a D8. So what does that look like with rain streaming off
So,
your giant armored form?
if I can breathe.
Yeah.
So, Yingvar jumps up onto the barricade and howls up at the stormy sky. The lightning crackles down behind him, and all of the watching people like shit themselves. And all of the people on our side are like, fuck yeah!
Angels of Death! Yeah, fuck yeah!
That's what that looks like.
So who is going next there, Brother Yingvar?
Sorry, I bumped you.
No problem.
To be fair, you've now given an effect die to
Yeah.
help out their attack.
Yes.
And increased cohesion.
Yeah.
Increase cohesion.
Yep. Because
I'm very close.
you had a kill team member make an asset available to someone else.
So it's now a D8.
Cohesion has now stepped up to a D8.
Oh, I see. That's what that was trying.
Yep. Basically, it steps up when you do something that helps the
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll climb the barricade as well, and
Not to be outdone by
not to be outdone.
the howling savage, who are like probably from the Black Templars' point of view, dangerously close to
Dangerously
being like
to
beyond the
heresy.
range of genetic tolerance.
Right. So I scream,
Look at those teeth, really?
seriously. So suffer not the Xenos, I shout as I sheepishly put away my Xenos.
Yeah. What? Oh, this thing? No. That's been like purified by tech priest to Mars. We're fine.
And I'll take aim. With a plasma
Oh, that's
rifle.
right, you got a plasma rifle.
Yes.
Cool.
So,
So, same thing. So start with the distinction.
Okay, so I'll do fanatical.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Does that
I believe.
help or hinder you?
So the hindrance is the
D4 plus a plot point.
Yeah,
While you're
maybe I'll
thinking
do that. Yeah, I'll do the hindrance. So I'm so fanatical. I'm willing to take out any citizen of the Imperium to.
They're rioting. They're already on like the wrong side of the Emperor. The answer now, flame.
Yeah,
Say no, that's
right.
flamer.
That's all I got. So I'll do the D4.
Right. So then, if you're shooting something, it's probably agility
Oh, okay.
for your attribute.
Okay, so that's a D8.
I have a flamer. I just carry it around for the aesthetic effect only.
And then.
And then the weapon itself.
Yeah, which
Okay.
I think is a D10.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Or if you wanted to, you could step it up. But if you miss, you take stress equal to.
Oh, the
Yeah.
Prince.
Basically,
Oh.
I mirrored the don't roll a 1 firing a superheated plasma.
Right. Oh yeah, nice.
And then cohesion.
Okay. Oh. So that'll be another D8 for cohesion, and I don't know if I should. Because I can step up a D10. I will wait with the GM.
Just roll it. If it's wrong.
So then you also,
I didn't roll yet.
It's on film.
They'll only know when it's too late.
so then do you also take the wolf pack, or
I guess I could, but
is it only used
I mean,
once?
do we
I
spec
think
that
it's-
to use, or is it something that stays around until?
I think it stays through the whole scene.
Because that would make sense. Otherwise, it'd be a lot to spend sometimes to just get one thing. Because you
Yeah.
risked like a doom die and things for that.
right.
It'd be a very weird sort of encouraging effect to be
Yeah.
like encouraged, and then one person used it, and everyone else is like,
Yeah, because then it wouldn't. Then you may as well just only do it for one person.
yeah.
So it has to be like for the rest of the scene.
Yeah, maybe you can only use like one though. So if there are like multiple assets, maybe you.
That would make sense.
So will the Wolfpack asset be spent if I use that?
No.
Oh, it doesn't. Oh, so
Like, there's an asset there. I can target it, and if my effect die is higher than that D6, it'll get knocked out. If it's lower, it'll get stepped back.
Oh.
But like that would be my action. So you can take action to reduce other opponents' assets or reduce your own complication. But unless and until I do that, as long as you can narratively take advantage of that Wolfpack asset Brother Yingvar has made, you're including it. And unlike other traits, you can add as many assets to your dice pool as makes sense.
Okay. Well, we're shoulder to shoulder on top of this barricade, so I'm feeling like I'm part of a Wolfpack. And what was the mechanic for supercharging the step up the die?
So you, I think it says on there, you
Oh, sorry.
step up the...
Oh yes. Step up the plasma gun.
would go from a D10
to a D12. Okay, I'm supercharging because I feel like I'm not rolling
Okay, we
ones
gotta wait
ever.
3 episodes.
So what? There's a downside to that supercharge with the plasma gun.
If it fails, I take stress equal to the highest rolling die.
Yeah, and as you've added a D12 to your thing, you're probably going to take a D12. Like that's if the roll fails.
Right. The roll specifically of that die of the D12, or the total. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
the total roll. Okay, there's no way I'm failing. I'm rolling a D12.
So
Get out.
you've added in the D8 cohesion and the D6 wolf.
Yes, yeah, D8. Yeah, so there's my my distinction,
Oh, yeah,
agility,
you got
and my
your
weapon,
Yep.
and my plot point. Should I be?
Is there cohesion in there as well?
Yes,
Yeah.
cohesion as well.
Sorry.
Should and that can happen
Shitload
after.
of
Yeah, I
dice.
can decide.
There are things you can do with plot point before you roll, so just add a D6 to your roll. Include a second one of these mandatory traits. Like if you could narratively say, okay, I'm also using my awareness to really target this thing. Okay, plot point to add 2 of those attributes into a roll. Or after you roll, spend a plot point to add a 3rd die to your total. Keep an additional effect die, such as you've now plastered 2 targets with that thing.
When you're gaining stress,
Yep.
is it? So like, let's say you do something that results in you having a 4 stress.
Yep.
And then later you get another 4. Do you remain at 4 because that's
Nope.
the highest you've gotten, or do they add together and you end up with 8?
If the stress is less than what you currently have, the stress steps up. So if you have 4 and you got another 4, it would go to a 6. Because that's the next highest step in the dice chain.
And if you had, say, if you had a 6 and then you got a 4, you would step up to an 8?
Correct.
Okay.
If you had a 6 and got a 10, you jump to a 10.
Okay. That makes sense.
All right, I'm rolling this. I'm not going to spend
Who are you
anything.
targeting?
I'm targeting
White guy?
the white guy. No, of course. The white guy's asking for it.
Well, there's a 1.
Yeah, there's 2 1s.
There's 2 1s.
Oh no.
The
So-
D12 was a 1.
Yep, you told me 1. Well, at least it was the highest rolling die. Okay, so what happens is, so here's your plot
I just
point.
had a neutral result. I think you did not.
Yeah, okay, here's your plot point because I'm going to buy that 12.
I'm seeing the downside of more dice now.
Like the higher die, I mean, yeah, that's kind of the thing. I don't necessarily want that 1 or that D4 because it's kind of crappy. So just set it off, just toss it back in the pile.
Okay.
So I've bought that die from you.
All right.
I don't add it to the Doom pool just yet until after the
Okay,
reaction
right.
is done.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm just going to do a 6 for effect, and I'm keeping that 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you roll a 15 and a D6 effect back. Okay.
You're not beating that.
So again, these are kind of these rebels. Haha, spoiler. Standard threat. Sure, they're pretty disorganized, so I'll take it as a D4 and add that to the pool. Then, sorry, their threat is 3D6. Let's go with vitality, and they don't have any armor. Also, sorry, plasma gun had armor piercing, which is a sort of passive static special effect. Opponents must step back any armor die they would use in their pool twice.
Ooh.
So if it was a D8, it would step back to a D6 and to a crappy D4 because plasma just burns through armor.
You had more dice on the Doom section, and then you pulled 2 of them off.
Because I can't currently, they technically don't go into the Doom pool until after we resolve this action.
So when
okay.
Jeremy's finished,
That
I'll
makes
go on the
sense.
Doom pool, yeah.
I am rolling gangbusters.
Oh,
But,
no!
so my total is 12, which doesn't beat your 15?
Of course it does.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to blow up holding a burning hot plasma gun.
Darn those rebel scum, but also power to the people.
Like, as players, you're like, fuck yeah, throw off that yoke of the Imperial citizen. As characters, you're like, oh man, these heretics got to fucking burn in fire. Alright, so, we're going to see what happens. So your 15 beats my 12. It's not 5 more than what I rolled, so your effect die doesn't step up. Your effect die is a D6. Spoilers.
Uh-oh.
Oh, not spoilers. But these rebels are mobs. And they're 3d6 for their threat. Every die of... Actually... That kind of... It functions as stress. So that 6 knocks out a d6 from this thing over here. So that thing is now knocked down to 2d6 as opposed to 3. So here's where, like, if you had multiple dice or an area effect attack, I'm going to spend a plot point, keep another die, spend a plot point, keep another die, and just wipe out that mob, because here's 3 effect dice that are higher, equal to or higher than that d6. So, yeah. That's right. I forgot the name. Oh, that's right. Brother Conrad jumps up, stashes that Xeno that he shouldn't be carrying, and just lets rip with an incandescent bolt of plasma into a knot of riding citizens, and just like, they just vaporize. You're looking at a bunch of like charred skeletons. So who's going next? So now these people go back to
But do I have an opportunity after this to spend any of this to generate an asset or any?
No, because you've said my effect
spend all the
after this
dice.
action
Oh,
is
that's right.
going to be
I
stress.
spend all the dice. Right.
After though, you could have added another effect die if you wanted, I guess, but you only had 3.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, I've now moved that D12 and that other D6 back to the Doom pool. So now you're looking at kind of a lot.
No.
You're welcome, everybody.
Well, you did kill one unit of tiny rebels. Probably worth adding a
So
D10
is this-
and a D6
is this
to
white
the
unit-
pool.
Dead?
No,
D12.
slightly weakened.
D12.
Oh,
sorry.
okay, 2d6, alright. Alright,
So if you guys have frag grenades, if you notice the special effect for frag grenade is multiple targets, you just add a D6 for each additional target you're targeting, and you get to keep an effect die for free. because area weapons just lay waste to
So
groups of people.
are they going to take turns when we're done here? So like they might say step forward, or
I
they
can
might attack us, or
I'm gonna. A round is going to be everybody gets a chance to act. I can spend a D8 or higher from the Doom Pool to interrupt you guys and go.
You're welcome.
I
You don't
didn't.
have,
I
like,
didn't
a
have a
complete
D8, and I
turn.
don't want to waste that 12. So I'm probably just going to ride this one out.
but like you don't have like a complete turn for each of these.
No,
It's
no,
not
no.
like we're gonna sit and
Yeah.
have them take a turn to
I'm
attack.
probably just going to like group them all together.
And
See what happens.
Yeah.
is there like a so within the mechanics there it seems like there would be a way I guess would it be creating an asset if like let's say I went forward and I wanted to put in some sort of defensive barrier like kind of like you have this here.
Yeah.
It'd be like throw down some object to be a barrier. Would that be like somehow like creating an asset so that we have cover? That'd be
Yes.
okay. Oh, I'm sorry. You have to.
You
You have
nominate
to.
someone to go.
Pick
Oh, no,
somebody.
next someone. Who's
Oh, I guess.
Could be me.
Doc?
Doc.
Yeah.
I was in Hollow Earth fucking activation.
Was in Doc Octavius.
Oh.
God
Is
damn.
that why you said that?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like, so Dr. Octavius is gonna take the one free move to jump on top of the barricade,
Join the wolf pack.
and he does not. Yeah, he's gonna join the wolf pack, and he does not think that these citizens are they are not rigidly adhering to the articles of faith enshrined within the Codex Astartes.
They're also regular citizens, yeah.
So he's gonna fix that using his Astartes bolter and with agility. So
Yep.
that's 1d8 for the distinction, 1d8 for agility, 1d8 for the bolter, plus 1d8 for cohesion,
Yep.
and then
With plus a
Wolfpack as
D6.
well. Yeah,
Just do me a favor and make sure those go back where they are.
Yes.
So I can kind of track
Okay.
those. Yeah.
cohesion's d8,
Yep.
Wolfpack's d6. Okay, I got it. And then I'm gonna roll all this.
What is the goal of your effect then?
Oh, yeah,
Complication of
okay.
stress.
Asset complication. So complication would be like they're
Going to have a harder time of doing things.
like they have the opposite of cohesion. Like
Yeah. So in other words, like a
Yeah.
complication in this one could be like
the opposite of an asset. Like,
yes.
All right.
Could be like pinned.
And stress would be like directly attacking their hit points
Correct.
or whatever.
Correct.
All right. I'm gonna say stress.
Okay. And who are you targeting? Or what knot of rebels are you targeting?
So those white people seem fragile. So I'm gonna target
Every
them.
D6 moves are their white privilege.
Yeah. Because they seem pretty softened up. Alright, so now I gotta figure out which one I want to take for my total and which one I want to take for my...
So you don't have anything less than a 6, but a 6 or an
Wow.
8 will knock out one of their D6s. They only have 2 left for their threat. Once those 2 are gone, that mob is dispersed.
So... Oh, right. Okay, so, wait. A D6 or a D8?
Or D6 or higher.
Okay, right. Yeah, because I see they have 2 D6 left, so, alright. So then, in this case, I probably just want to take these for my total, because that's the highest total. And then, it doesn't really matter which one I use for my effect die,
It does
because
They're the same.
they would all be the same. Unless I had a plot point,
If you had a plot point, you
I could add
spend-
one.
Or you could keep an extra effect die,
Right.
thereby eliminating that mob in a single.
Exactly, yes. Okay. So, right, so my effect die is one of these, whatever it was. And my total is 13.
Okay. So their threat is 2d6. They are undisciplined, so I'm adding a d4, which adds a d6 to the doom pool. Vitality is a d6, and that's all they're going to get because they don't have any armor. And you were just firing your bolter, right?
I am just firing it into those white people.
Yeah. There's a 1, which I don't get to use. So I don't get to use 1s either. You all can spend plot points to activate my 1s to step back complications that affect you.
Oh.
There currently aren't any.
Do those stick, or does that stick around, or is that something we'd have to do now?
It's something
We
we'd have to do
the plan.
now. So that's gone. I can't use it. There's another one which I also can't use.
I've got complicated feelings.
So my total is a 9. And
It's lower than
which is
13.
lower than 13. Actually, which is lower than 13 by what? 5? 4.
9 is lower than
I don't
13
math.
by 5.
I don't math very well. Sorry.
that works.
So here's the thing: if you ever don't have enough dice to keep another one for the effect die, you just get a D4,
Oh, okay.
kind of the smallest one. So yeah, your effect die is a D8 there. So with Brother Octavius's bolter, just lays down fire at that annoying amount of white people, and they're whittled down even farther. Cool. For all intents and purposes, there is one threat, one die left on that. They're all-
Okay.
they're all threats. So, that gets added to the Doom pool. My turn. So, I'm just going to group a bunch of people up here. So, like, Alright, so, 3, 6, sure. So incoming fire, because they all have stub rifles as well. So, these rioting citizens have a distinction as well. Where's my D8? This is why you need some dice for this game. So they have a desire for carnage and death, which is a distinction die of a D8. I'm looking at 1, 4, 7. I'm just going to group those guys together. 2, 4, 6. 7 for their threat. I'm going to use a D6 for agility because they're
There's a
firing
lot of
weapons.
people.
It's almost like you're fighting down a model thousands, right? So
It's
this
nice
is
to be sitting behind all that cover right now.
and a
Step back.
Does that give me any kind of bonus if I get attacked?
6.
That's when I can drop on and be like,
I
I'm
have
behind cover.
I've established it as a D8 a distinction. So there are kind of I should have said there are scene distinctions in this case. It's like pissing down. The scene distinctions are rain-soaked darkness, palpable alien hatred. However, unless you spend a plot point, you're only ever using one distinction, either from your sheet or the scene. So if you spend like a plot point, you could then add another one. Or if you think one of the scene ones is more appropriate, you could add that instead. So like I said, okay, so it was, the D8 for Desire of Carnage and Death, there was 7, 3, 6, 7 dice, Agility D6, and their stub rifles of D6. And they're just going to open fire on, they're going to target Brother Conrad there. No.
Well, you are the one that's done the damage to the
Yeah, right.
first
Well,
one.
All
also-
right, so there's a 1, which I
Gaga.
can't use.
Yeah, but plasma leaves more of an impact. doesn't
It does. So I'm looking at
That and he was first, so you know.
12.
They're just being logical and fair about this. Take one problem at a time.
So the way I use dice from the Doom pool is I can add them to a roll for one of my characters. If I do, that die is spent
Okay.
and disappears and does not go back. Much like you guys use plot points, I could also spend one to add a third die to my total. It's also then spent. D6 is kind of what I would have to spend to do that. I can also spend these to inflict a complication on one of you. So I'm looking at, I'm kind of curious to see how much damage I'm going to do. So you know what, I'm going to, and Doom pools also can be really high, so I'm going to spend this Doom die to add that 5 to the total. So I'm looking at 6, 12, 17 with a D8 effect die for that attack to inflict stress on Brother Conrad there. And these rolls going to go back.
You have 2 plot points though.
I
can't you?
do.
And you have that thing, don't you? You can bring to bear possibly.
So here's where we find out how good that Space Marine armor really is, because I made it real good.
Yes.
So you're doing a reaction.
Oh,
Not
okay.
that it really matters all that much. So you assemble a die pool exactly the same way. So distinction, attribute, which is probably either going to be vitality or agility if you're trying to scramble out of the way.
Oh, both are D8s, so
Yeah.
I'll do that. Okay. Yeah, so I'm just going to go.
So what distinction are you using?
I am going with cower not before the enemy.
So you're just going to stand there and take it.
I'm taking it.
Which
Bring
if you
it
wanted to, could be a
on.
D4. Because you are not trying to get out of the way of fire. You're just relying on your faith in the Emperor to protect you.
Right. And would generate.
You would, instead of a D8, you get a D4, but you'd add another plot point.
Right. I'm pretty flush. I'm pretty much ahead in plot points.
Well, cover not before the enemy, but also don't stand in the way of incoming fire. Okay, fine.
I'm not cowering before a crowd of rabble. Okay. So D8, and then the power, and then 2D8.
Yep. So that was distinction, attribute, cohesion. Which is another
cohesion.
third D8.
Oh, all right. No ones, please.
Yep. And your one piece of equipment, which
power
is power armor.
armor.
Yep, it's going to be a D10.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not rolling any ones, just in case you guys are curious.
It's good you set that up.
All right.
So I was looking at a 6, 12, 17.
17. Yeah.
Remember, after you roll, you can spend plot points to keep add a third die to your total, which is exactly what I did.
Which I will be doing.
Or if you wanted to, you could spend a plot point now to add a D6 to your roll.
Right.
You wouldn't get to keep a third one.
Right. Yeah, I'll keep the third when I'm rolling these big dice. Okay, here comes a big roll. That's definitely 18. Oh, there's a 6 and a 7, and I'll spend a plot point to keep the. But if I tie
I rolled a 17.
Oh, but you're the actor,
Sorry,
so if I tie
I got that incorrect.
Oh.
Ties go to the defender.
Okay, then I'm defending.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I'll spend this plot point.
You just toss it back here.
Okay. To tie you with a 17.
Cool. So
And another.
on a tie, yeah, it's like Space Marine armor is real fucking good. I only spent that to see if it would go up against this. Good. So like
It's a thing you see in movies where they go.
no, you don't, not even like that. Just like
You're like, isn't this the armor on his arm the same as the armor on the rest of them?
Yeah.
Shouldn't
Doesn't
he
have a
know that?
shield.
He's taking in the
So
chest?
all these stubborn bullets, because they're actually firing kinetic bullets, just like bang off Brother Conrad's armor there. Bang, 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 bang. And same thing is going to happen to. Actually, who's the other one who did it? Yeah, Brother Octavius.
I did some damage.
Yeah,
Oh, Doc Ock.
So it's going to be this group of 3 over here.
Maybe
So again,
it's a good thing that I failed at my life's work.
same thing. Oh, I'm going to steal these back because I need to do these. So, desire for carnage and death. Death of the false Imperium. You're looking at a grand total of 9 for their threat there. 3, 6.
That's why I'm still behind the barrier.
Do you want to borrow this plot point?
3, 6, 9. Okay. Their D8, they've got an agility D6, crappy little weapons of D6. So that's what we're rolling to see what happens to just keep grabbing dice. But you'll notice, like, they're all 6s.
I know.
And most of the stuff Space Marines gets are like 8.
I know. I'm just joking.
We're supposed to be worrying about the hardship. That makes it more fun.
Well, there's no
laugh
ones.
with me mates, you know.
Well, there's a 5. There's a 10. I'm going to do the same thing. Spend a die to add a... 5, 8. That's a 12. And a D8 effect die.
Okay.
Oh, no, sorry. It was 5, 10.
Yeah.
4 for the 14.
Yeah.
And a D8 effect die.
So
And I'll
then-
go back.
My roll, because I was not paying attention. Because
Sure.
I did
So
not
it's-
think I would be attacked by the
Basically,
white
you form your dice pool with the
With
same-
helmet, people.
So, distinction attribute.
Okay.
Go Colts.
So, yeah, go
To be fair,
Colts.
it's the purple, green, and yellow people who are attacking you, I think.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
So, which distinction are you using?
So, I mean, you to have a
Could
distinction.
use, like the rain or something as like the distinction
You
as
could,
well.
yes. So there also, I should say, there also is that scene distinction of rain-soaked darkness. If it makes more sense to use that instead, because they're not going to be able to hit you as effectively.
Yes, it does.
Yes. So then that's a distinctions are always a D8. So grab that as a D8.
Are they always unless I take the D4 plus the plot point?
Correct.
All right, I'll take the D4 plus the plot point.
For which one?
For the rain-soaked darkness.
Okay, which since it's kind of hurting you, narratively means it's benefiting them a little bit.
Oh.
Meaning you can't see to get out of the way.
Okay, all right. Yes, that. All right. Yes, that. Well, you could take studious in that case. I am thinking through the problem. I'll get a shot at.
Sure. Yep, so that's a D4 plus your plot point.
Yeah.
There you go. And an attribute.
And then, in that case, I guess I'll take vitality
Sure, that's kind of the bodily strength one.
as my attribute, and then I take cohesion.
Yep. It's, D8.
D8. I'll just, leaving that there makes more sense because then we don't have to put it back. And then do I take Wolfpack then? as well?
You're with your battle brothers. It makes sense to take.
Yes,
Wolfpack
then
as
I
well.
will also take Wolfpack.
Sure. And then you have not included a piece of Astartes war gear.
All right. So in this
I
case,
suggest the power armor.
oh shit! Huh, interesting. So I'll take the Narthecium and Reductor.
Which is my needly gauntlet.
Yeah. So this SFX thing.
You're literally going to take the Narthecium and Reductor.
What was I saying?
You're going to use your field medic kit as opposed to the powered armor.
Oh, I'm gonna use my powered armor. Never mind.
He's just gonna pre-treat himself.
No, so I was.
Question, yes.
So the reason I made that mistake, I was trying to teach everybody else.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe you.
But there's this target must step back any armor die included in the reaction dice pool twice, which is not the thing that makes sense here.
Right.
But if we were living in a world where it did make sense, how do you activate the special effects or the limit?
The limit?
Like, I mean, these things are listed as, extra things on our gear or for cohesion. How do we take advantage of that? Like,
Some of the SFX are passive, such as Brother Conrad's plasma gun had the armor piercing 2, much like your Narthecium. His opponent had no armor, so no die was stepped back.
Okay.
If you had run up against something with armor, like currently, if say Brother Conrad had shot you, right? Your armor starts out at a D10. He just says, because I have armor piercing 2, which says the opponent must step back their armor twice, that goes to a D4, from a D10 to a D8, then a D8 to a D6. So your powered armor would now be a D6.
Okay.
Some of them are passive, such as that armor piercing. Others say, like on a successful reaction, such as the chain-sword. Others say, you may, such as like bolter drill. I think like you may double bolter. If you, but 1s and 2s, you can't.
Okay. Okay. I got it.
So in this case, and there's your D10 for
I
the armor.
got my D10.
Oh, sorry. Okay, go.
This is pretty D10.
Thank you, Don.
Better roll pretty.
Yeah. Me roll pretty.
So I'm looking at a 10, 14.
All right. So
You didn't get any 1s.
I did not. So I will take this.
So as a reaction, you very often cannot use an effect die.
Okay.
So don't worry about it.
All right. So then I'll take this as 13. I'll spend a plot point to use a third die, and I'll step that up to an 18 to beat you.
Yep.
Or to beat the group of people.
Yep. So I rolled a 14, 18. Yep. So you still did not roll 5 higher.
Okay.
So you don't get to bank a hero die. But yeah, again, bullets are just spanging off this like 4-inch thick ceramite power armor, which is exactly what's supposed to fucking happen. Like these are mooks. You're just supposed to go right through them because they can't fucking touch you, even when they gang up, which is painfully obvious.
Come on, Wolfpack.
So yeah, the last one. Why not? Let's shoot at Brother Yingvar over there. So it's going to be, desire for blood and carnage. 3. I can steal these dice, right? Yep.
That one was the Wolfpack dice.
Oh, it was. Thank you. Boom. Not that. 3, 6 dice for their threats because there's only 2 of them over there. Agility D6. Crappy stubber weapons a D6. So I'm looking at 2, 4, 6, 8 D6 and a D4. Which is still not going to get through your armor, as we have illustrated twice before.
Oh no, don't jinx me.
Right. So there's a 1. Can't use it. No one has any complications to spend plot points to step anything back. So there is tempting to use that 8 for my total. But no. Okay, there's a 6, and there's a 5 for an 11. No. Let's go 14 with a D6 effect die, and I'm going to use the black one to be dramatic. Cool. Okay. So you're looking at a 14.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to say the rain protects me.
Sure.
Also, the thunder is really cool. So that's an 8.
Yep.
Yeah. Come on, 8.
Distinctions
Do you
all
Couldn't
like
find any
that?
pretty ones. Oh, there it is.
Raylan before was like pouting about having missed, and so he stayed behind cover. But now he's actually feeling kind of hurt that these mooks wouldn't think that he was worth shooting at. Everyone else got shot. Everyone else's suit is big and bad.
They
Like
took the first shot.
It did, yeah.
They
For
so
the-
easily forget.
for the movement, the one movement you can get in each turn, does that have to go first, or can you like do
No.
your other action then you can decide to move?
Exactly that.
So I could have shot and then stepped up onto the barrier.
Sure. Do you want to have done that?
Yeah.
Okay. Because cower
I
not.
didn't know I
cower not before the end.
I didn't realize you had a movement that you could use. I
No, it's
somehow forgot about that. From
I don't think it was brought up.
I had not
actually,
said
because
it. It was not
Yeah.
brought up.
So it wasn't my fault. That's nice.
It was not.
And we're
Because
still
when John went to be like, I'm gonna take my free move, or
Yeah, yeah.
no, it was
So you got your you had your
somebody,
distinction,
and I
your
was like,
armor, your
oh wait,
attribute,
we can
and
do
your
that.
cohesion.
We can just move.
Wow, is brother Yingvi gonna take some damage actually there?
Yeah.
Whoa,
That's a
whoa,
14. You had a
14.
14. Oh, wait, because I'm the defender.
The defender, yeah.
Nice.
Cool. So again, bullets just spangle. Spangle, that's not a word. Yep, so bullets just spang off. Why is the xenophobic dude howling? He's like, calm yourself there, brother. You are dangerously close to being branded a heretic. Cool. So, everybody's fired, and...
Brother Octavius is down though.
Well, it's not Codex Astartes compliant, but I'll allow it this time.
Yeah.
Well, Yingvar is gregarious. Everyone loves him.
So, as these bullets just spang off, you can see out of the flame-lit darkness behind kind of the throng of people, large, well-muscled, not as big as you guys.
No, just like large but small. I
I already used those. I already used those. Right?
large. You drop
Very
the
large.
smallest piece when
We got other movies when you want something large?
Nah, it's okay. So,
sorry.
large, vaguely humanoid, but just like rippling muscled, wielding this like giant, not as big as yours because everything's giant, like whirling chainsword, just steps forward. But think a chainsaw, but only on one side. Okay.
Oh yeah, like this guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there you go, chainsword. Steps forward and like just starts pumping up the crowd behind him. Like again, like you're bigger, stronger, and tougher than this guy, but he just kind of like.
Is this just a human or what? Because like you just said, the chainsaw step forward.
It's
and
like-
I'm like, is it just a
no.
chainsaw? In the
No.
air itself?
You're looking at like an 8 foot tall human.
It's an animal
And then a chainsaw.
So
yeah.
it's a more impressive humanoid
Yes.
thing. Okay. I'm just like
Yes.
imagining this.
He's all
chainsaw
like, "How many of y'all like sex?"
I'm guessing none, because there ain't no women in the 4K
Yeah, he's really
universe.
ripping up the crowd.
Actually, which doesn't actually mean anything, so strike that from the record.
If you win, we'll let you move to another cannon.
Probably.
You'll have all kinds of fun in that one.
Yeah,
guys.
you've moved to the Dragon Riders of Pern. Womp womp.
So,
I like that setting, but
you know that
fun.
compared to you guys, this kind of like leaderish figure is not really a physical threat. It's more threatening because he's pumping up the guys behind him, and there's still like, sure, a lot of fire got directed at you. I mean, think of like Saving Private Ryan, right? Like PDF Force is still getting like gunned down, kind of like there's like blast fire going off it the whole time. And now that you all have arisen, things have kind of gone better for them, but like they're still outnumbered like 3 to 1. Actually, maybe more, like not at all. That you guys showed up. Cool. So, who's going next? Actually, that was me, so I can nominate someone. So this time, I'm going to nominate Brother Octavius.
Oh shit.
Come on, Jack.
All right. I'm gonna do what seems like the thing to do. in terms of the numbers on my sheet.
Space Marines are known for their physique, vitality, equipment, not necessarily their words.
Well, we're gonna roll
That's
forward.
what you want out of a healer, someone who's not good, not any good with the words.
So Brother Octavius jumps down off the barricade.
Yep, we jumped down off the barricade.
The flagstone cracks under his armored feet.
Yep.
Nice.
And then he's gonna take his Astartes crack grenade.
You're gonna chuck a crack grenade at the guy.
Yeah, he's gonna chuck it at the chainsword man.
Throwing these grenades in other situations, would it just apply to like a single group, or does it apply to like a range, or like just like a
The range kind of dictates where how far away your target could be. You would then nominate. Basically, all these things are all acting as, yes, they represent groups of people. They are effectively operating mechanically as a single character.
Well, I
So
mean,
you
it's
would-
like, in
you
other
would-
words, if you you'd throw at this group, and
Yes.
that wouldn't affect like
It would-
this group over
it would
here.
not.
Or, okay.
It would not.
Yeah,
That's
but
what I was curious
we
about.
have like area attack on like the frag grenade,
Yes.
which I'm not using. But in that case, would you be attacking multiple groups?
No, you'd be
Or-
attacking one group. So like each of these, remember, each of these had a 3 threat dice.
Okay.
So if you targeted this one,
Mhm.
you would say, okay, I'm targeting this group. Great, there's kind of like 3 dice worth of characters in there.
Right.
You would add 2 extra d6 and get to keep 2 additional effect die because each threat die counts as a separate target.
Okay. I see. Okay, within the group. Okay.
Yeah, within the
Alright,
group.
I got you.
If there had been a bunch of individuals here, then I
Uh-huh.
could say, okay, yeah, let's treat them all as a group.
Okay.
So have a crack grenade, buddy.
So I'm gonna lead from the front
Yeah.
and be a leader and do all the leadery stuff, and that's gonna be also very agile leadership.
Which is you need a d8 as a d10.
God damn it.
Yeah, which is now you see why I wish I had color coded the die based on type.
Yeah, but also I should be smarter.
So you got a distinction, you got your crack grenade, which is an attribute,
Right.
or a piece of war gear.
And then now I take
Got an
cohesion,
attribute. Yep, cohesion.
which I should just grab from here, like I set up before. And then we are wolf packing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna grab a d6.
Sorry, your crack grenade there's a d10.
I grabbed it.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I grabbed the right one.
Cool. Okay, and you're just saying,
Let the record show.
have a grenade, asshole.
Yeah, I'm just like, how many of y'all like grenades? What kind of roll?
Well, there's a 1.
There's a 1, so that
No,
goes
no.
to the
Here-
doom
here's-
pool.
Failing when you're
Here's a
throwing
plot
a grenade
point.
look like it's not pretty.
It goes to the doom
Yep.
pool.
And it's just like grenade slips out of your hand and drops to your feet. The day just gets worse from there.
So I'm gonna live dangerously and take this 11 as my total,
Okay.
and take this d10 as the effect die.
Okay. Cool. So I'm treating this guy as a rebel leader.
Oh, I got a plot point. Can I use that immediately?
Yes.
Include an extra die.
You could include a
But
third
it's-
die in your total.
Get them 6.
It's 2 though.
I mean, a
Take the D10 one.
D8 is not that much smaller than a D10 if you go to effect die.
It's only like 2 smaller, in fact.
No, it's only 1. 8, 10. Oh, yeah, okay.
I know,
Size,
no,
yeah, yeah.
yes. It was a dumb joke. It's
I gotcha.
I didn't deserve a response, but I can use it immediately.
Yes.
Okay. Then in that case, yes, I'm gonna take the d6 and then I'm gonna play it safe and use the d8 as my effect die, because this guy probably doesn't have d10 effect die or like d10 armor dice or whatever.
Let's
so.
face it, in terms of morale for the enemy, you really don't want to fuck up such a spectacular attempt to kill him.
Yeah.
So
I'm leadering.
Yeah.
this guy's threat is 2d6 because he's a bit
Okay.
more important than the regular people. His distinction, he is.
Well, he's turbo fucked.
Yep. He has Astra Militarum training.
So you grab a die from him.
Oh, he did?
No.
Oh.
Unless, and just,
Right.
just keep it
There's
going.
a D8.
Sorry.
He's going to use agility to try and dodge that crack grenade. So let's see. Threat, distinction, attribute. He will get to use war gear. His armor would normally be a D6, But crack grenades have armor piercing of 1. So that means he has to step back any armor die that would be used in his pool. That becomes a d4. Crappy d4. So your grand total was what there?
It was 17.
Whoosh. Well, there's a 1 that I can't use. 5, 10. Yeah, that's not great. Well, I don't want to spend any more dice from the Doom pool because those are all pretty crappy dice. So we're looking at a 10 total,
You want to spend all
which
the dice
is
Yeah.
7 less than your 17.
It is, in fact.
Which means so you've done a
The hero
heroic
dice.
success. So the highest rolling die on my side is a d6. So you bank a d6 hero die.
Okay.
Yes. And you also step up your effect die by 1 because you beat me by 5. So that d8 becomes a d10.
Becomes D10. Okay.
Cool. So, actually, yeah. So what happens?
It does. It does. It does.
No, it absolutely does.
No, I know. Just ignore me.
So
please.
what would happen is much kind of like your stress. These threat dice get knocked off for each effect die you keep. So a d8, or sorry, a d10 vastly beats that, which would knock off 1 die. However, eating a crack grenade doesn't make sense for him to still be standing. So, both.
Oh,
Nice.
yes.
I'm looking at it going, okay, does 50% hit points from a crack grenade? I don't think so. All right.
That's fine.
So, yeah. So Brother Octavius just strides forward, pulls the pin from a crack grenade, which is normally used against armored targets, but whatever.
It seemed better because it was a
Yeah.
D10. So.
It does, yeah. You are now down to 2 crack grenades.
Oh,
They are
right.
the one thing. The frag and crack grenades are the one thing. Because they are so fuck off good, I had to limit.
So with the effect thing you just got, is that able to be something that affects the enemy again, where it's like
Oh, it's
they're all
gone.
demoralized or something?
No,
like that?
because he inflicted stress as opposed to an asset or a complication.
Oh, but they're all more stressed now.
No.
No, the
stress is on
one,
individual
remember the
target.
big fuck
Oh,
off kind of
just the
mutant
one
guy?
guy.
Just went like, yeah, come on, shit, crack grenade.
Yeah, stress also stands in for like hit points that are you
Yeah.
alive.
Like, I was just curious if like that would be like he tried to moralize everybody, and then you spectacularly shut that down.
Yes.
I didn't know.
Well,
So
that
would
would
that be
be-
like now that all of them are now demoralized?
Well, that would be up for the DM to decide. Like, oh, maybe it
Something
has-
was going to happen if he had stayed around longer.
Oh.
Was not expecting a crack grenade. I was like, all right, someone will probably run up and tell me, no crack grenade.
Yeah, you should, man.
Yep.
That's
So,
the
Brother
Warhammer
Octavius, who are you
equivalent of
nominating to go
flying
next?
a drone into your opponent's.
Yes.
That's what we're driving the car.
So, having been invigorated by the wolf pack, I nominate my lycanthropic brother.
Thanks, Dr. Octopus. So, Yingvar jumps down and is like, the whites are weak.
This joke's just not going to go away.
And shoots with his bolt pistol.
You don't, because that's the only ranged weapon you have, correct?
Yep, that's all I got.
So, bolt pistols have that special effect, rapid fire. Double bolt pistol, if you do, both 1s and 2s count as spoilers, meaning you cannot include them in the total.
And if it was double, would I be able to...
You would roll 2d8.
2d8s? Oh.
You would not get to keep an extra effect die. It just kind of increases your chance of hitting, but it also gives you more dice to spend a plot point on to keep that extra effect die if you wanted to.
Right.
That's why
With
I'd
the
like.
1s and 2s count as spoilers, you can't.
You would set.
You still can't buy 2s
I can
as
buy
if they're
ones.
1s?
No, I
still,
can only
still
buy
like
ones. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Right,
That's my question.
Yeah, let's do a double bolt pistol.
Cool.
Oh, first distinctions. Berserker Fury. Yeah. So that's an 8, and this is
Agility.
agility,
probably.
right?
Yep,
Yeah.
for your shooting stuff.
8 is that one. And
Pretty
another.
much anything a space marine does that's not mental is going to give you 8.
Cool.
Because I said
And-
D8 is kind of baseline human, and they're not that much smarter.
Another 8 for cohesion.
Correct.
And then 2 more 8s for my guns.
Bolt pistol. Yep.
which is, I think,
Oh, sorry, that got out of the doom pool.
and Wolfpack.
So you notice bolt pistol has that limit. Reload. Shut down bolt pistol to gain a plot point. So if you want to say, that's kind of you kind of going, it's dramatically appropriate to click, 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 oh shit, I'm out of shells. Here's your plot point. Until you then take an action to reload, you can't use bolt pistol.
No spoilers, so
But,
cool.
Hence why
I'd
the
say roll
jumping
2.
ammo is fine.
I haven't seen a single
No.
other.
We're not going to count it, except for those grenades.
Except
We're just gonna-
incentivize reloading.
Yes.
That's,
yes.
that's a good thing.
So I got a 14, and one of my many d8s is going to be the effect die.
Okay. And you don't have any plot points to keep in
Do
that
not
shield.
have any points.
Okay. So, why not? The rebels are undisciplined, so much like using that as a negative distinction, doing that adds a d6 to the doom pool, because I don't get plot points. There's only one threat die of them left. Their agility is a d6. That was threat, distinction. They have no armor. That's their die pool.
Oh.
Like I said, these are like low grade mooks. That's why I'm like, I want to cover behind the bear. I'm like, What if you need cover? We're looking at a grand total of 7 against your.
Against my 14.
So you get a d6 hero die.
Awesome.
You step up that effect die.
So it's a 10 now. Not that I needed
Not that
it.
you needed it. The whites are dead. Wow, white genocide is real. All right. Could not do it.
Well, you know, this is a hypothetical, futuristic world.
Apart from the salamanders, the one chapter, ain't no black people in more than 4,000.
No, that's not surprising.
Yeah. Anyway. So yeah. So
we're all-
just
we're
jumped
all
down and
brothers.
was like,
We're all brothers.
"Yes."
We're all brothers.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Cool. So brother Yingvar just like decimate. There are only like one of them left, right? Just eliminates
Yeah.
that knot of
I feel
riding.
bad about that show. I'm sorry.
So who's going next?
Well, given the length of the day,
It is night.
I want to. Huh?
So you said given the length of the day.
I meant
Oh.
our day.
Right. Okay.
I'm gauging whether or not I should care to save grenades
Oh.
given the
right.
length of the campaign.
But these recharge between scenes maybe, or no?
Like the only way you requip is to go back to the watch station.
Oh.
However, you made very short work of that giant rebel.
Yeah.
And,
I felt it was well spent.
Yeah.
Could use another crack grenade.
I'm thinking to use one of the grenades because the way at least it seemed I should be able to target this group of 3, which is untouched, and it's only a
I think you'll shot
one.
Oh, you
I was gonna move one, but yeah, you're right. I
It's
can't
kind
get
of like
close
that,
enough.
yeah. But it just kind of didn't make sense for people to be able to, as strong as you are,
do
it
you
didn't make sense to be
send-
able to throw a grenade as far as a rifle could shoot.
Do you send? Can you move beyond that one movement
Sure.
in any way?
It's
Or
kind of like
does it,
that's
use up
kind
your
of all
attack
you
phase?
do. It kind of uses up your attack phase unless you want to roll against the doom pool. In which case, if you're successful, then okay, you're gonna get to take a second action. Actually, maybe for this one, I was kind of limited to 2 actions.
Mm.
You get your free move and an action or double move. I'll say that to speed things up.
Okay, well, I'm going to then just I'll get closer, but then I'll just do an attack with the bolt again. Are any of these groups damaged yet?
No.
So we
Brother
killed the only
Brother
damaged
Yingvar
people?
has taken out the only damaged group. Yeah.
Right, because I missed the reds last time. Okay, so I could just use the 8, but I kind of like the idea of getting a plot point.
Yep, it's very enticing.
It seems like it's a valuable thing.
Except for the doom pool.
Except for the Doom Pool.
In
But
addition, remember,
we're
the other,
Space Marines. What do we care about the Doom Pool?
remember, the other way to earn plot points are to step back the cohesion die, which no one's going to fucking do, or enact one of the limits on your piece of war gear, such as
Reloading.
reloading or something like that. Those
I've only shot once. Reloading doesn't make.
maybe you spend a whole bunch of bullets on that miss.
Yeah, you've been trained to
and
roll
then
weapons.
so it was agility
Yep.
that we rolled.
So you're probably looking at a D8. Yep.
Yeah.
Cohesion is also a D8. And you can just move it out of there.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, we're up to it. That's right. We are up to a D8 now.
Yep.
For cohesion. Actually, we'll go back to the lucky die that we're not lucky
Sure.
from last time.
You're kind of acting as a team, so you could probably take advantage of Brother Yingbar's wolf pack there as well. So that's a D6
D6
as well. And then your weapon, which is, I believe, a heavy bolter is
It's a
D10.
10.
Or if
But
you-
I considered doing the.
Or if you triple it,
Yeah.
you can triple it, and then if the action fails, you get a jammed complication
And I resolve that.
by taking an action against it, which would be rolling the doom. Basically, it's the same thing as a reload. Basically. Or you can just ignore it, and then all the opposition will get to add a D8 to their pool because it's more difficult for you to affect them.
And I can't spend a plot point to fix it.
No, you would be taking an action, and as long as your effect die is then higher than whatever the complication is, it's gone.
Okay.
Even if it's lower, it's stepped back.
But if I succeed, I get to hit 3 instead of 2?
No.
Or 3 instead of 1, I mean?
It gives you more dice, which you can then spend plot points on to keep extra effect dice.
So, because you've only got one, that'd be like hitting 2 people instead of
3.
one.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was trying to.
So it gives you more dice to work with. It does not let you keep extra effect die, unless it's possible.
So in other words, it gives me a better chance
gives you a better
to hit,
chance,
but it doesn't
yes.
give me a better effect after that.
No. So yes, triple heavy bolt. If you do both 1s and 2s, kind of spoilers, and you gain a jammed complication if the roll fails. So it doesn't allow you alone to target multiple groups. It gives you more dice to then spend plot points on to keep extra effect die. Because like that's the thing, is like even if you have a whole bunch of plot points, you can't keep more dice than you have.
Yeah.
So
well,
needing
what I
to
mean
put
is
more
like, so
dice
I'm
in your
targeting
pool.
one person,
Yep.
but
You're targeting one group.
when someone succeeded before, they only went down 1 die.
Yep.
And I'm saying like, no matter what happens with this, they're still only going down 1 die, just have a better chance of getting it.
Unless you spend that plot point to keep an additional effect die.
But I could do that anyway, couldn't I?
Yes.
Regardless
However,
of the triple bolt.
but the tripling the bolter gives you more dice to work with.
Yeah. Well, screw it. Why not?
They're
I
gonna
don't know
say-
how helpful it is, but I'd rather see things go awry and have that be funny.
So you're
or
adding,
find out how it works.
you're
So
adding 2 more d10s because you triple
uh,
that. That's a d10.
I have
Yep.
no d10s in here yet.
So you're looking at 1, 2, and there's the 3rd.
Don't I get?
No, because you triple it and it starts at a d10.
Oh, triple. Okay.
So you're going to roll all those together, yeah. And you're targeting the reds again.
Sure. They're the ones on my side of the arena.
Those communists.
So any 1s and 2s? Ones,
I have a
1s?
1 there. That's it.
You gonna buy that?
Enjoy your plot point.
All right. Well, you know what? I'll buy that d4. So there's your plot point. But instead of adding a d4, I'm going to step up that 6.
Oh,
2 and 8.
this now.
So besides that, though,
So now you're going
I've
to.
got a handful of 5s and 7. So is this the part where I say like, here's my 10 effect die, and then I only get to keep these 2?
Yes.
Is that what that is?
So you total 2, or spend a plot point to total 3.
Hey, you rolled a 50. Put that in there.
Well, I lost last time, and he's very emotional sort of person.
Is this a D10?
That's a d10.
Okay, but these are definitely humans. Who
These are- yeah.
These are 3d6. All right, never mind.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So anything a 6 or higher will
Yeah.
knock out one of their die. Yeah. So here's also where you decide if you want to spend those plot points to keep extra effect die.
Effect die, or to put into this into the
Effect.
total.
Either. Like you can spend a plot point to add an extra die to your total, or you can spend a plot point to keep an extra effect die. If you want to eliminate that whole knot of people, 3 effect die of at least a d6 each or higher will wipe them out.
And you're rolling with 3d6s right now?
Because their threat level is 3d6, representing the mass of people they are, as
Well,
opposed to
I
one
have,
die that's an
I have
individual.
a 12, so it's not possible for you to get more than a tie, which you win.
Remember, I can spend these dice to keep
Oh.
extra dice. I can also spend these dice to include them in my total when I roll.
Okay. Well, I don't. He can't bear to lose in front of his brothers again, so he's going to spend a die to.
So also, I should
Just
say,
tack that
you
on.
can, if you keep multiple effect dice, you can do multiple things with them. You can't apply more than one die of stress to a target, but if you wanted to say, and Brother Raylan is also going to make the asset called covering fire, here's my plot point to do that. This die is stress, this die is the asset.
Yeah, I could theoretically do both at the same time.
Yes.
I'm going to keep this because I want to have that in the future.
Sure.
But, so we'll stick with this, but that's good to know.
Okay, so did you spend that plot point to keep?
I spent 1 plot point to keep another 5, because I don't trust you with that huge pool.
Oh, okay, okay.
And
so
he
you,
can't stand to look like a loser.
so you bumped it up.
Again,
So
in front
again,
of his
there's my
brothers.
distinction of desire for carnage and death. There's my 3d6 for the threat level. There's my d6 for their vitality. They don't have any other equipment or armor that would help. They're mooks, so let's save that. Wow, there's a 1 that I can't use.
I feel like we should get our own doom pool with those ones.
If there were complications, you could activate them to step stuff down. I'm looking at a grand total of 8 with a d6 effect die, which doesn't beat your total of...
17.
All right.
Ooh,
I was worried. I
so-
lost last time. I rolled a 12 or better last time, and
So-
you beat me.
Here's where I math. 17 is higher, like you beat me by 5.
Yeah.
Ooh, you are very lucky because my highest rolling die is a d8. So you bank a d8 hero die.
Yes.
I think put like a 1 or something in there. And also, because you beat me by 5, your effect die steps up. So it goes from a 10 to a 12.
Okay.
They just explode.
Pretty much. Pretty much. And for for expediency's sake, if you want to split effect die, hey, break that into 2d10 or 3d8, because then you'll just wipe out the whole fucking mod.
Well, then, yeah, let's do that. Very energized by having seen by his like insecurities about having been such a failure last round, and everybody else got some blood. He jumps forward, unloads an entire clip across the group.
He does, and they just
And they split into
explode.
pieces, crumbling over.
So, who's going next?
Who's gone this round?
I think everybody
Everyone
except...
except Conrad.
Conrad!
So it's Conrad. So this time, Raylan looks back to Conrad, having been like, see, I can do it.
Was there any doubt?
All right, so I'll step forward and join
And then
the,
Ollie's
join the
goes
party.
back.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
And so we're still shooting. So there's 4 separate.
No, I mean,
They're kind of.
I grouped them up when I attacked you, but
Oh, okay,
they
okay.
are...
They're kind of
not-
separate. Okay, nobody has any damage. Just the
No,
red.
no.
Red guys are gone. Okay, I'm gonna just take a plasma shot at the orange guys.
Fuck those orange guys.
Let's do it. All right.
All of my brothers are picking such faraway targets from where they are.
All right. So fanatical, and I'll roll. I guess I'll actually take. I'm so obsessed with killing them that I'm taking the D4 for that plot point. And I'm shooting the plasma, but I'm not going to step it up.
Right.
So I'll just
That was a
do.
bit dangerous.
Yeah, that didn't work out so well last time.
Looking at a d10.
So D10 and so D4, D10, and I need an attribute as
Yep,
well.
attribute. So you're probably looking at a d8 because you're doing agility.
Yes,
so
yes.
That's that.
D8. All right.
And then
And-
team.
and-
With cohesion, which
oh,
is
right.
another d8. There you go.
Okay, so and I'm part of the wolf pack.
One part. Tenuous. Don't tell your battle brothers back home with a chapter about, kind of like following the space.
You
war.
reluctantly join the wolf pack.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a 1. No. There's 2. Oh no, there's a 2. Okay, so there's a 1. That's the 10.
Definitely buy that.
The highest. Jeez. I roll
Good
one.
thing
on
you
the
guys are
highest.
like fighting against mooks as opposed to trying to take action against the ambient environment.
I don't know.
I tried to tie my shoes.
You
Shit.
see a growing pool of dice over there, and they're not all D6s anymore. I don't know what you're talking about.
All right. So if I spend this plot point, I can add this amazing 2,
Yes.
so I can do 16?
Yes, with a
Yeah,
D8.
16 and with an 8 effect.
Sure.
So I'll spend that.
Cool. Okay.
Ouch!
6. And where's my other
I am the
8?
Doompool contributor. In
Yeah,
case
you are.
anybody's interested.
And I like it. So let's see. Okay. So distinction, 3d6 for the threat, d6 for their vitality. No ones, but there's an 8, which I will keep. That's a 13.
Oh, that's not right. I
What
was
your
hoping
total?
for 5. I was hoping to beat you by 5.
Unfortunately. But you still beat me though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. 16.
Oh yeah, 16. 13. And that was on orange.
And 8 effect.
Okay. So that
The
8.
orange folks.
Yep. Knocked down 2 Cool. All right. So what I'm going to do, as everyone's kind of got a taste for this, and I don't want to spend the whole thing just slogging through, because if that's the case, why don't we just play the fucking miniatures game? So, yeah, okay. Like the rebels see their weapons, their like little kinetic bullets, are like not getting through your giant ceramite power armor, and they. One of their leaders caught a crack grenade to the face. Yeah, turns out. And they just kind of start dispersing back into the flames and ruins. Well, they all keel over. Yep,
That's me. That's all me.
They're retreating back into the ruins of Lord's Home, which is the name of this capital city, which I didn't mention before. And yeah, again, establishing the fact that no, Lord's Home should not be burning. So, the ragged PDF lines back here give a cheer, because they were getting kind of the worst of it. And, you had spent that?
Yes,
Cool,
that's
sorry.
fine.
And their captain steps up, says, "Praise the Emperor that you arrived to save us from that horde of insurgents." Stoic as angels of blessed be.
Yingvar howls again.
The guy takes a step back.
I.
What's the? Do you
Hey,
know
remember
the
that thing called role-playing?
situation?
Yeah.
I'm
Oh, yeah,
assembling
there's
my
a
dice
thing.
pool.
Exactly.
I was gonna say, do you know? Ask him. I was gonna ask him, like, do you know what the situation is? And if we, assuming that we've now saved this kind of monastery area for the moment, be like, do you know what the situation is inside of the city? Because similarly, there are valuable places and assets inside of the capital city. Maybe some kind of governance building.
Either those or
You know, something that we would care to take as a primary target, given that everything is like under siege. You'd want to pick the valuable target. So I would ask, like, what's going on inside the capital city?
Perhaps we should take a step back into the cathedral, which you so thankfully ruined. Could you not have used the door?
You're welcome.
Far be it from me to presume to order the Emperor's finest, thank you very much. But if you wouldn't mind stepping back into the chapel, we could probably discuss this. So, as you follow the Planetary Defense Force commander back into the chapel, rain's still coming through that hole that your drop pod made. So the commander kind of like turns away for a second. There's kind of like a ripple that goes down through their body. They turn back, and hey, you're looking at one of the very rare women in Warhammer 40,000. Oh my god! Also, as Deathwatch agents, you know that there is a specific kind of faction of assassins whose sole deal is impersonation and kind of camouflage and all that kind of stuff. So, but you know that like they are like super loyal to the Emperor, and their whole deal is apparently women, because estrogen bonds well with the like chameleon whatever hormone thing they invented.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, exactly.
They have that nature, you know.
Yeah. So
Women.
yeah.
duplicitous.
Exactly. They're either assassins or there's a whole group called the Silent Sisters where they seal themselves in their armor because who the fuck wants to listen to women talk, right?
They're actually silent sisters
Yes.
in this world too. Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
And not to mention the Sisters of Battle with their high-heeled power armor, which is kind of cool. Spikes on their boobs. Anyway.
Calidus.
Calidus, thank you. There wasn't an X in it. Calidus. So, she says, again, thank the Emperor that you arrived. I, of course, couldn't reveal myself outside. But the situation in Lord's home is dire. I am the last, as far as I know, remaining member of Inquisitor Calistrati's retinue. 2 weeks ago, she set off, hey, because Inquisitors can be women too, she set off to try to confront the progenitor of the genestealer brood here on Lord's home and has not returned. Since that time, things have gone swiftly downhill. I was the one who sent the coordinates for your drop pod to land here.
So where was the Inquisitor headed?
As far as we could tell, the Inquisitor was headed to the Manufactorum district, which of the city, which is where we suspect that the infestation started. And out of character, you guys all know that once genestealers start infecting people, the oldest and kind of most long-lived one ends up kind of being like the queen alien, essentially, and is in a lot of psychic control of the lesser genestealers and then infected humans.
Let's go then.
how do we get there? What's the quickest way to that thing?
I like the gruff voice.
Which subway route do we take?
Rand's feeling, much tougher after having success. Because
fuck yeah, I dispersed those rebels. Cool. As far as we could tell, the Manufactorum district is kind of the central area of the city. Lord's home is crossed by a number of canals, which in brighter times served as transports for shipping goods off worlds. Basically, the whole world is just one massive farm, except for the city of Lord's home. Goods come here to the single spaceport and then are shipped off world. The Manufactorum district is the center of the city. You'll have to
Fight our way through.
Sounds like a plan.
We've been talking long enough. Let's go kill some peasants.
Cool. So the other option. Cool. Also, as we mentioned earlier, you know that genestealer infestation, if left unchecked, usually results in that psychic beacon for the tendril of the Tyrannid fleet to come down and engulf the world. So you're looking at kind of two possible primary objectives: locate the Brood Lord, locate and eliminate the Brood Lord, because then that'll kind of disrupt the Brood, or locate the Astropath to get a message off-world to let everyone know what's happening. The more exciting one is the Brood Lord.
Why don't you just send a message and kind of wait for their response?
Dylan already said what he thought we should do, which is to go kill some peasants. So whichever one has more peasants to kill is the one he should do.
There's a line of peasants in front of the
Yingvar does not need backup.
You do know that, again, having fought in Brother Octavius would know this as well.
Oh yes, of course, yes.
Yeah, as a veteran of the Tyrannic Wars, genestealers, although they have no ranged weapon, their claws are sharp enough to cut through ceramite armor like paper.
Oof.
Oh shit.
Why have we
Again-
not designed better armor?
You did? It's just like these guys are that good. So again, out of character, you're looking at the alien from Aliens. Like, get them while they're far away, because once they get close,
Oh no, that's the opposite of my.
or make sure they don't get that close. You're just like, oh, put
I've got 6 grenades left. Okay.
I would want to ask her if she knows where the Astropath is.
Here's that wrench I wanted to throw. Sure. The astropath is in.
Okay.
Everybody named it fucking Shadow Spider Tower.
Surrounded by peasants.
Oh, that's right. She's in the House of Echoes, because apparently women can be psychers too. Which is in the Magistra district, which is kind of the government district, which the Lord Governor has walled off once the insurrection started. So getting to the tower would not be something that's impossible. You would then have to somehow get into the Magistrate district and then go talk to the Lord Governor, or get into the House of Echoes where the astropath is located.
So there's no way to like send a letter to the
Are there
astropath?
ravens?
Carrier pigeon.
For the sake of expediency, is that something you would like me to do? She says that in character.
Oh.
Yes.
GM saying, here's this NPC at your disposal. Move the plot along.
Yes, it seems like we should send some kind of message about the situation here on this planet.
Use your assassination abilities to deliver this message.
Actually, her impersonation abilities. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Because basically, like, I'm trying to think. She's Mystique. Like that's
Awesome.
that's the extent of their power.
So it
So
seems
she could be a carrier pigeon.
Sounds like that's what we want to do.
so it seems important for us to try to directly neutralize the threat, but we should also send some word about what's happening. And so yes, I would like you to do that.
I absolutely agree. Did I mention that she barely comes up to your sternum?
Oh.
That's
No,
how big
that's
he comes
hot.
up. Would be hot if you weren't a chemically castrated super warrior.
But also, where is my sternum?
Oh, good question. Because your ribcage is just fused with like solid sheets of bone.
Yeah. it's actually it's about the knee.
So, it sounds like you are you're going to try and track down the Broodlord.
Yes, I
Will
would suggest.
I try and get a message to the
Well said,
astropath?
yeah,
Yes.
Yes.
I would
Yes,
suggest
that's
that
recommended.
that is the way to go.
that's some good thinking, brother Octavius. I was ready to just go kill some peasants and not worry about
Thank you. I
making
often
use of this woman.
thank you. I often find myself
'Cause
preferring
really,
to think you're
what
my
does
way
Spades
to the
make about
problem.
using the Cool. So,
It is very studious of me. Yes.
so the assassin says, there are essentially two ways into the Manufactorum district.
The hard way, the easy way.
Hard way or the harder way? Which one do you want? The insurgents have destroyed many bridges, crossing canals and bridges to the mainland. There is a single bridge called the Promethean Bridge that leads into the Manufactorum district that is heavily guarded. Alternatively, there is the seawater runoff tunnels where all the wastewater from the Manufactorum district is just swept out to sea. Because fuck the environment in 40K.
What's the catch about the tunnels?
Basically, you're walking through sewer tunnels. So which way do you want to go?
The bridge seems like a shorter walk,
Probably.
and so
Drier.
yeah.
Less smelly.
Let's say it's
with
you,
your heightened senses, you could smell that
brother
shit.
Conrad.
And also my impeccable logic of it's just a bridge.
Yes.
We can merely walk across it.
Just say heavily guarded.
We're heavily
Details.
armored. Yeah, right.
I'm just saying, like, one being no defenses in the script whatsoever, the other one said specifically heavily guarded.
Well, one is-
I'm not saying no bridge, I'm just saying there's...
One is really icky, and
What?
one is very.
Do you need more steps on your Fitbit or something? Because it's the future.
It's the future.
For
Your
you
armor
all-
tracks fucking
Yeah,
everything.
we all have Fitbits implanted. So, I would suggest we do not walk further than we need to.
Say again, what sayest you, brother Conrad?
I agree with the bridge route. The less rats, the better.
And you said more peasants. I mean, the peasants may be like rats, but they are not rats. And so I feel like the
Fear thee,
bridge.
rats, my brothers.
So I feel like the bridge would have more opportunity to cleanse infidels.
Well, Brother Raylan here stops and thinks for a second and goes, if I side with the wolf, then we'll be split 2-2 and the group will fall apart. And also, I have a drastic need to be accepted.
Oh,
So I'm being drawn to the gravity of the consensus. And I guess
Whatever.
we're going to the bridge.
I guess them folks
So
know
I
tactics
say
better than
there
me.
be peasants on the bridge and we shall slaughter them on the way in.
the only
This
brother
will be
without
no trouble at all.
the only brother without a helmet wants to take the sewer. I don't understand that.
So many interesting smells.
Like a dog. What's that? What's that? What's that?
That's a different campaign.
This is about right for you because you're both a wolf
Yep.
and you really like rats, so it's like your place.
Whatever. What do
But
I
in
know
a
about
story like
tactics?
this,
I guess
rats
I'll
are
follow
just
the
as
brain.
likely to be evil as to be not evil. Just like the monsters. Or you could go the sewer route and we could
Just meet
separate
up.
on the other side.
Oh,
I go on my own way.
It's always a great idea to separate the group in stories like this.
Yeah, yeah.
It is.
It's great. It never fails.
So it sounds like the bridge.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're all gonna
Bust
have
our way through a choke point. It's no big deal. There's a choke point.
Yep, you're all gonna have to navigate there. So this will be handled as an exploration scene. So what you can do during an exploration scene is someone is going to roll against the doom pool to see how well you get there. Other people can either assist by kind of like making a helpful asset. You can roll to recover stress. No one suffers stress, so it's kind of like everyone might be helping. Basically,
How do I do stunts again?
stunts are just kind of things that you choose to trigger.
I was just wondering if my wolf senses might help us get through
If
the
you-
exploration phase.
Because what, you either get to like step up or double awareness?
Yeah.
That would probably be helpful. I could see how awareness would factor into tracking something
Yeah.
or trying to find something. So, yeah. Which is specifically why Brother Ingvar there doesn't wear a helmet. Oops. So
Also, he's just so pretty, Why cover him?
his braids, his long canine teeth. Yep.
Yeah.
So, who's taking point?
I guess that'll be me then with my senses, huh?
yes.
The one who didn't want to go this
Yeah.
way.
It's like a dog. They don't really want to go the way you're going,
Fine.
and then they run ahead.
Octavius is definitely the ringleader of this whole bridge idea, so
If it fails.
when we all get killed, we're all going to look to Brother Octavius and blame him.
I will lead from the front by going second.
Okay, so exploration scene. So it sounds like Brother Ingvar there is taking the lead. So please assemble Actually, other people are assisting. So it sounds like everyone else is helping. So we'll do this as a teamwork action. Everybody give a die to Brother Ingvar that you would be able to use in this situation.
Okay.
Sorry, an attribute die.
All right.
So in other words, if you think like awareness is a good one, intelligence might be one, even though everyone's not all that smart. Awareness is probably the best one.
What if your awareness isn't very good?
Yeah.
Oh.
Give some agility to this journey.
Sure. How would agility help in navigating?
We're traversing a war-torn region with all kinds of jaggedness and who knows what.
I'll buy that.
Being able to go quickly over that space, I mean...
So I'll give an incantation of willpower to seek out this Xenos.
Really hard.
This Xenos foe.
We have to get there as quickly as possible.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. I'm giving you some.
hatred
Some
to
willpower.
cleanse the earth.
No. Willpower.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Burn hatred to cleanse the Imperium of anything that deviates from the norm.
Except my sword. I'm keeping my sword.
The sword is good.
So So what die are you giving to Brother Yingber there?
I'm going to give my willpower to prevent us from being distracted by any side paths that may exist on this bridge. Prevent us from getting lost.
Distracted.
Yeah.
I smell a squirrel and just go
Just-
off.
A scroll would be very detrimental to the
Just
Find
keep
any
us
backpacks along the way, just sitting out in the open, do not open them.
Yes, I think we've learned that lesson as well.
keep us on task.
So, yeah, add 3d8 then to whatever your normal die pool would be there.
Yeah, I'm doubling my awareness because of my wolf senses.
Yep, and there's no downside to that, right? And you don't have to spend a plot point to do it.
Nope, as long as I'm not wearing a helmet, I am... Oh, wait, no, shit. Spend a plot point. Ah, shit.
We actually have to spend a plot point to do it, though?
Yeah, and I don't have one.
Well, then you could, if you use a distinction, add a d4, you immediately get the plot point. Which
Oh,
you
I
can-
didn't add any distinctions.
Yeah,
Do I
you
still
don't.
add those?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. You still form a die
Did you
pool.
add
normal.
the
I'm
other ones?
gregarious, but that's kind of a problem because I'm just like, chat.
Yeah, hey, walking through a hostile world. Watch out for those snipers. By the way, did I tell you about the time back on Fenris? Dude, shut the fuck up.
Did you add your abilities in cohesion, the attributes in cohesion?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
do I
again,
add
yeah,
cohesion?
it's the whole
Oh,
thing.
okay.
So
So you get a
distinction,
cohesion.
attribute, cohesion, and
Okay.
if you can think about it, a piece of war gear, or if a piece of war gear doesn't fit, a d6 in place.
Oh, okay.
Basically, you always use those 4,
Okay.
or a d6 if you can't justify one of them.
Alright, so I'm chatty, which is not a good. That
Yep.
gave me a plot point. I spend that plot point to double my awareness.
Yep.
We're at an 8 for cohesion. I got an 8 from everybody I'm traveling with. And I don't think that any of my shit's gonna help me, so
Nope.
d6.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
So roll that.
Well then. There's kind of a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Did you roll any ones?
No.
Okay. So then it's the
That's some
usual
good shit in it, though.
total some dice, or total 2.
Yep. 16 with a d8 effect die.
Okay, 16. Okay. So since you're taking action, just to kind of
Oh shit, you got
I
so
rolled
many
the
good
entire
dice in
doom
there.
Oh, yeah, join the whole Doom pool?
Yep.
Ah.
There's a 1, which I can't use.
Woo!
Just rolling dice like this for the Doom Pool doesn't cause them to go away. There's a 7. There's a 13. What was your total?
16.
Your D10 fucked you.
It did. It did.
You can't stop the wolf.
What I'm going to do is, alright, I'm going to... Sure, I'm going to spend that d6
Oh no.
to keep an additional d6.
Mm-hmm.
So that is 11, 16, which beats you.
You- 18.
18.
And then I'm going to keep my d12 as an effect
Oh
die.
no.
And
so sorry.
I'm sorry.
Boost you with plot points?
I'm going to establish...
Oh. The anti-wolf pack.
I'm going to... Okay, so here's what happens. It's not that hard to find the Promethean Bridge. I mean, you're crossing all these canals. Sure, there's like... shots are still spanging off your armor. There's like running battles going all over the place. I didn't spend them. You can locate what is the Promethean Bridge, which is this large drawbridge across like 100 meter kind of really deep channel. As you get there, there is the staccato chatter of heavy bolter fire or heavy stubber fire that just rakes across the front. And I'm going to establish an asset for my sides as a D12 suppressive fire asset.
Who chose this bridge? Whose idea was this?
So
I don't remember voting for any bridge.
the setup we're looking at here is, again, kind of ruins, clear space. These 3 zones here are the bridge. Underneath those are very fast current of seawater runoff. You got to get over there. You're also looking at 4 large groups of rebels
peasants.
And on the back here,
No big deal.
you're looking at a drawbridge, kind of one of those double-winged things. Drawbridge is up, and on the back here on the other side are 2 heavy weapon teams.
Those white fuckers.
The drawbridge is up,
Drawbridge is up.
and I take it the controls only on the other side.
They've also kind of made themselves like a barricade as well.
I don't think that's true. I think there's probably a control on this side.
Yeah.
Why would you have bought a drawbridge that you could open from the invader side?
Well, they've
Both
got
sides.
people guarding it.
Remember, like the idea was like this was once a compliant world.
It's just a bridge. This isn't a drawbridge in terms of like a castle sense.
It's not like strategic.
It's like a
It's
double.
not a defensive
Yeah,
bridge.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just
It's
a
for-
bridge.
It's just a bridge. Yeah.
It's for boats. It's not like
Yeah,
for
yeah.
defense.
Like normal circumstances, yeah, exactly. Boats would be passing under, and people would be like, "Hey, how's it going? All right, friends."
They
where's
have,
the emperor?"
they have boats.
And all the canals you've passed are like disgusting, body choked, like
When I
Yeah.
look down into the canal, do I see any boats within sight?
No.
Anything floating within sight?
bodies.
What?
We have
I
like
take it the bodies are not like buoyant enough to support me in power armor.
No.
If you had
If I
enough
stack
of
them
them.
up
No,
together.
like you step on that, you're sinking straight to the bottom. Thank you for your service to the emperor, friend. Oh shit.
you're pretty fucked in water. You can't swim.
However, you are wearing a nuclear-powered, completely sealed environmental suit.
But
Yeah.
to be depending on the universe, like I could see just being able to walk through the water if I've got my own air supply. I'm probably
Good.
functional in
I'm,
space, right?
I'm imagining it like
I could just
looking
walk
at like
through
kind of
the
like
water
steep,
underwater.
steep
nice
slope
defense.
down.
No radiation's gonna get to me. Even.
No, no
Maybe
radiation.
find a
Water's
sewage
a
out
great
there.
defense against radiation.
You could just go, you know what? Fuck this bridge. Sit
So
down.
that's part of it. Like maybe just jump off the edge into the water. Let's just walk across and then climb up the other side.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah, you
Say screw this bridge.
Yeah, you've got your own air supply. You've got your own.
Pretty much do.
Yeah, you've got your own Jefferson Air.
Fuck it, as a D6.
So that is sorry. That's right. It was the Fabrica district that you're trying to get to, and you're absolutely right. So in these 3 zones, you're looking at kind of like a sandbag barrier. You got these 3 zones here, which have swift current as a distinction.
But I'm also I'm wearing heavy power armor,
Yes.
which we already established cannot be supported by.
No, so you're pretty much if you wanted to, you could totally just like sink to the bottom, try and walk
Swift current
across.
really affect me, or are you saying swift current means it's swift enough? I will be like pushed away. I'm jumping in the
You
water.
might be like you could probably wade across, not wade, but you could probably like sink to the bottom and walk across if you wanted to.
So when I look on the other side, what kind of terrain do I see on the other side of the bank in terms of like the upper level where we are,
Sure.
and the lower level?
You have trumped through kind of the residential area, so imagine, like high rises that are just like burning. It's already like gray and drab and barren, and the other side, the Fabrica district, is like, imagine big coal cranked up to 11. Like you're looking at an entire district of like warehouses with like pipes off them, like belching smoke up into the atmosphere. That's why it's built so close to the sea, so it can just wash all those chemicals right out into the ocean.
Where it's fine. It's
Exactly,
fine.
where it's fine, because nobody lives out there. So, yeah, you're looking at kind of like a definitely industrial district is where you're getting to.
Sure, on the other side, I'm saying like, if I'm down walking in the water, when I'm going to climb up the other side, will I be greeted with a sheer, smooth wall? Is it like dirt and there are trees sticking out of it I can grab onto?
No, you're looking at a man-made canal. It's kind of like concrete.
So there's some
Is
way
there
up on
a
the other
ladder?
side?
No, it's not a ladder, but I mean,
Well, they do that in
you're a
in
space
canals
race.
all
You
the
just go
time.
like
There's
this. You
little
need to
runs
climb up,
coming
make a
out
ladder.
in case someone
All right,
falls.
we're climbing. We're
I
climbing
see.
up. You can probably just stick your fingers through it.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, just punch.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a finger
Double
in the
jump.
canal.
But you can take a few long-range shots before you go. That would help us
As
a
the
little
heavy,
bit.
yeah, the heavy goes, yep, fuck you guys, into the water, like,
Well, you all could come in too.
Just jump off the side. Oh, see ya.
It would make more sense if you, the close people, jumped down and I stayed back to shoot.
Yes.
Give us
Well,
cover.
you know what I'm going to do?
Fire.
I'm going to
And
spend
then-
D8 from the Doom pool
Oh.
to interrupt this and go first.
Oh no.
Thank you.
Cool. So as you guys appear, you're however you want to do. You're actually I'll randomize it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. The heavy, the one who's talking along. Yeah, he's going to one. Gets raked with heavy stubber fire from the heavy weapons nests on the other side of the bridge. So we're looking at they are a rebel horde of these guys are. There's a lot of them. So their threat is 5d6. They have a desire for carnage and death. Heavy stubber is d10. This is pretty much exactly like your heavy bolter. So d10 for the weapon, d6 for agility because they're shooting. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Distinction. Attribute. Weapon. That is a ton of ones. All right. Praise the Emperor indeed. So those.
Oh. What's he spending?
Sorry, I forgot to add that D12 suppressive
Oh
fire.
yeah, we always forget that, you know.
Oh, that's a 10. That's very nice.
No.
Those ones are still gone because what I was going to say is I set it up as an asset for my side.
All right, yeah.
Had it been a complication, here's your opportunity to spend plot points to step that back. But I remember rather than attach it to one person, I made it a nebulous benefit for my side. So those 3 dice are gone. I'm going to be a real asshole because that's a 7. All right, let's keep, that's going to be juicy. All right, a 10 and an 8. So my total is an 18 against Brother Raylan there, and I'm going to keep a D10 as my effect die.
Shit.
I want to see a Space Marine take some damage, goddammit. So you're looking at 18.
And it was me attacking.
Mm-hmm.
So I
To be fair, I did randomize it.
And you do have a plot point, so you can.
Yep. Yeah. So you're going to
I
distinction?
take an 8 for my vitality,
Mm-hmm.
and we're up to an 8 for cohesion now, aren't we?
Yep.
So 8. Oh, that's 8 for cohesion.
Correct.
And then I have this
Yep, your power
Power
armor is
armor.
a D10.
for 10, and then I can either do an 8 or a 4.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've got 1. Yeah. I'll take a.
So which distinction are you using, just out of curiosity? You need another 8. There's one on the other side over there. Go.
Perfection in all endeavors. I have a near mystical belief that all things can be made better.
If I stand here and take a bullet?
You know, I have an absurd belief that I'm not going to be killed by fire from peasants.
Yes.
Okay, I'll buy it.
Exactly.
Sure.
Is it that if you can't think of something like that, then you just do the 4 and take a 5?
No, you say, here's how this kind of works to my detriment. Because the D4 is probably going to... D4 has a higher chance of rolling a 1, meaning you're not going to get to add it to a total.
Because if I were actually interpreting that reasonably, it'd probably be more like, I have a near mystical belief.
Well, go with that, then you get a plot point.
I'd rather have the 8 in a mechanical sense, but I think story-wise and for what's written, it makes more sense to do a 4,
There's your
honestly.
plot point.
Because otherwise, all my stuff's either... 2 of mine are about just, like, believing in lofty goals.
Yep.
Like, just like the mystical belief that all things will be made better, or my gaze is uplifted towards greater goals. The other one is just
I ain't gonna die
murder
here.
in my eyes. Like, I ain't gonna die here.
Yeah, lofty goals. I'm not going to be killed by peasants.
Could be. That doesn't seem very lofty, man. It seems pretty lowly. Like, I'm not gonna be killed by
I am built
peasants.
for better things than this. I'm not going to die.
That's a low bar there.
I'm not
for a
going to
space
die on this
marine.
backworlds agra planet.
So
Cool.
I've got just those 4. Let me hold on.
Oh, yeah. So you got your distinction, your armor, your attribute, and cohesion. So that's it.
So I only have 4 die.
Yep.
With all this, and how could I bring these
You
into
can
play?
you can spend a plot point to just add a d6 to your roll. Okay. Or you can spend a plot point to include a third die in your total.
Yeah, and now I can do after,
Yes. Yes.
which I think I'd want to do because just a d6. I mean, you've got 18.
18.
You're gonna be okay. You got plot points.
Yeah. We also got Doc over there.
I don't want to be killed by peasants. That's the real problem.
To be fair, these are peasants with a heavy weapon.
Actually, you're fucked.
Are they all ones?
No, the 2s and
Well, add a plot point and you've got.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
need to
we're good.
add. I can
Wait.
just add my 2 in, right?
Yeah. Yes.
16. Oh, but isn't
I've
that
done 18.
18?
I've
Oh,
done
shit,
18.
yeah.
No, but that's a
No, it's a 17.
17 plus that's 19 if he adds 2. Yeah.
That's 19.
But isn't that an 18?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
if
doesn't
it was a
19 beat
19, 19 beats 18.
Oh, okay.
yeah, 19
Sorry.
is a higher number.
Let me look
Oh,
I'll
I
look
could
that
even
up.
add this 3 and make it
Google.
20.
Cool. Okay, so give me your plot point.
Sorry.
Okay, so your total is now
I thought
19.
that was a 6.
Your total is now 19.
Or
It seemed like it was
20.
like
Because
20.
I don't. Neither of these becomes an effect in this case, right? It's just defense.
Yes, for a reaction you don't really need an effect die.
Okay, so sure.
Okay.
I'll
So
go
your total is 20. Wow, 18. Even with 5d6 threat and a heavy
So I step
fucking
forward
weapon,
with my
they
cloak,
can't do anything to you.
swing the cloak in front of me, and find out that it's bulletproof against peasant bullets.
Yes.
Spray it over.
Right.
This is
So-
a stress-free team.
Exactly, this is stress-free team. Like I said, you're either going to mow through these guys like grass, or they're going to TPK you with
What
that
were you
first roll.
looking at about the dice?
So, yeah, the heavy stubber fire just chatters off Brother Raylan's power armor there.
Like 6.
I mean,
But what happened was that it was probably rolled like this, and then you turned it around.
Yeah.
And
okay.
So the two of us were like, obviously that's a 6.
yeah. So I thought you were real fucked.
Yeah, that's. Yeah.
And then but then actually you were like, oh no, I've got a 17. I was like, what?
You can feel better about knowing that even if I somehow flipped it from a 6 to a 9, I would still be equaling the 17.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you didn't though because the 6 is on the other side of the die. So
Okay.
I know.
You're getting me. Well, when you just said that, you got me worried that I somehow flipped it from a 6 to a 9, and I made myself feel better by going. Even if I did, I still have tied the roll.
It's fine.
So, the heavy stubber fire chatters off Brother Raylan's armor there. And back to the discussion about whether he can wade through that channel or not. So, actually, I nominate someone to go. Right. So, actually, okay, I'm going to nominate. The one I'm pretty sure will just leap howling into the channel or trying to cross the bridge.
Like, I would have been angry from having been shot at. I would have been enraged and charged. I wouldn't have tried to jump into a river now.
So, howling, as per usual. My pistol can go 2 away,
Yeah, 2.
right?
Yep. And they're
And
all
they're
in
at the-
this one.
Oh, okay, so they're close.
Yeah,
I could
because
throw
you're
a
kind of
grenade.
looking at like open space,
They're like
sandbag.
cracker close.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna throw that fucking frag grenade.
Cool. So are you targeting white, red, green, or blue?
Where am I? I'll say
You're here. I mean, you're kind of in this band, but you
Yeah.
can technically be anywhere. Yeah.
green, right in front of me. I'm not very
Bam. Okay. So we're going to see an area effect attack. So assemble your dice pool. So it's going to be distinction, cohesion, an attribute again agility. Because there's anything else that Space Marines do, and then frag grenade.
Cool. Well, my machine starts howling along with me.
Oh
so that's
yeah,
an
because
8.
I gave you that's
Yeah.
right. The first one has a backpack that just lets out these guttural growls and rumbles every once in a while.
I'm just gonna collect all my 8s again. Yeah. And agility and cohesion, and the frag grenade is
D8.
a D8 and a D6.
No, it's a
Okay.
D8. But each one of these, the threat is 5d6. So you're going to add 5. You're going to add 4 d6s.
Oh, okay.
And then you're going to be able to keep 5 effect dice.
Oh shit.
Like that's what area effect weapons do. You add a d6 for each target after the first, and you keep an effect die for each target after the first. So you could potentially, that single frag grenade could potentially wipe out that entire horde of dudes.
So my distinction, my attribute, my cohesion, my weapon, and then 4 d6s because it's an area attack.
Correct.
Okay. Wow, shit. I'm not very coordinated right now.
There's a lot of dice.
Yeah. Like now you see why I just brought that big old bag of dice.
Oh shit.
So any ones?
No. So there's the
There's some
one.
6s there.
Oh, you got 2, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's your 2 plot points because I'm going to buy that D6 and that.
Ooh, points.
But you got 6s and 5s.
Yeah.
And block points.
Actually, you
plot
know
points.
what?
Uh-oh.
No, you know what? Okay, I'm not going to do that because we're almost out of
Upgrade,
time.
yeah.
So I'm going to upgrade that 10 to a 12.
Oh no.
Now there's 2.
No, I'm so sorry. And for the effect dice, I can keep up to.
You
How
have to
many?
you have to keep 1 for each target.
I
so you're-
have to.
Yes, you have to.
Oh.
So you're looking at 5. So I
Oh,
guess
no.
that's the downside. So if you
So-
don't have an effect die, you just get a D4.
Ah, okay. So add a d4 over here. So 12. Awesome. And my 5 effect die.
Cool. So you got what, like 8, 6, 6. But you only have 1 4. You only have 1 4.
Yeah, I've got 3 8s, a 6, and a 4.
Cool. So as their threat 6, that means
The 4 cannot
The 4
take him out, but
the
it
4
could damage him, right?
it won't be high enough to knock out a die.
Yeah.
So like if I fail this roll, it'll be down to 1 die.
One guy. Okay.
Yeah. So again, 1, 2, 3. Oops. Well, that heavy weapons team is taken out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because they're threat 5. Vitality of D6. Let's give them their distinction of D8. And they don't have any armor, so that's pretty much all I'm looking at there. So
Lots of ones.
what was your total?
12.
Well, there's a 1.
Oh, no.
Oh, shit.
Ooh, look at that. There's an 8 and a 6,
Damn it.
which gets me a 14. Which is going to be good enough.
Yep.
Cool. So,
Dang.
Brother Yingvar, describe how you hurl this frag grenade in their midst, and somehow none of them die.
Yeah.
You throw like your own
So
character on
I'm
the
howling and the armor set's howling and I wasn't expecting it, so it just goes in the ocean.
It's exactly like your old character in the video.
Whap! My bad, guys. Forgot my own strength. It's kind of over there now. Cool. So, since it's already 10, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend these 2d12 from the Doom Pool to end the scene in a
shit.
manner of my choosing. And I kind of want to see how it's going to go. So, we're going to flash forward, even though I set all that up, to, you know what? I want to see how it goes. So I'm going to give each of you a d6 stress.
Oh.
Okay.
Just because I want to see how damaged Space Marines work. So you do eventually fight your way across the Promethean Bridge. There were controls on both sides. You did end up taking damage using gear and stuff to get through. Fought your way to a central kind of Promethean refinery where...
I've got awesome terrain.
Where I just want to see what it goes. Please ignore the fact that these are missing. These are all missing 2 arms. Wow, those magnets are fuck off
They're really
strong! All
Back by the
right,
base of his
come on.
Yeah, you gotta get him at an angle.
All right, there we go. You don't perchance happen to have a Broodlord. Oh, not the Chinsack one. Who sculpted Acid Maul? Because seriously, those are a pair of testicles on his face.
I do have Space Hulk if you want a bigger genestealer.
Oh yeah.
It's Acid Maul, so it's got like, you know...
So we're moving
It's
to the-
unfortunate.
Yeah, he does look like alien with testicles hanging off his chest.
Yeah.
It's
Is it
unfortunate.
vulnerable there?
I don't think so. So I want to see what happens. So give me. So that'll be the. I'll just do this. That'll be the Broodlord and Spiky Bit guy.
Here's a peek.
Oh yeah, Broodlord. Boosh. Awesome. I can't tell you how, like we discussed before, I can't tell you how mad I was that some of those genestealer models were missing arms, and I'm like, you are a miniatures company! Why did it just kind of disappear into nothing? So, Yeah, you fight your way across the bridge, eventually getting to a promethium refinery. Kind of get ambushed by lowly little genestealers. Fight your way through tunnels to what, following like a trail of blood, and kind of like, ripped open ducts and stuff like this, to what is obviously the Brood Lord's den. So, good news is I've depleted the Doom Pool noticeably. The bad news is you're not up against those things that'll shred your armor like tissue paper.
Yay.
Honestly, what happens. So,
But will they create pretty ribbons out of the tissue paper?
they'll create snowflakes.
Yeah.
Cool. So,
Was he up there?
yeah, I put him in the right place there, buddy. Okay. So, suppressive fire is gone. I'm going to, because this is interesting, I want to see what happens. Hey, there's my D8. I'm going first.
Oh.
They still kind of can't get there. But let's put them real close. So, remember how in Aliens the things are just like bouncing off and crawling all over through dimensions? That's these things. They have like those forearms. They're just crawling across absolutely everything as they close with you.
Cool.
That's pretty
Well,
much all
luckily
I
they
can do.
charged us, so we can stay behind the cover.
There is no, like, you're looking, like, there
I
are,
mean,
there
you have
are,
the cover drawn at least.
I didn't want to swap out the maps, Mom.
Did you say there was no cover there? I was like,
I did
what's
not,
your
but I
point?
did not say there was cover. You're looking at, like, pillars. There are, like, pillars holding up. You're essentially in, like, a big old pressure tank.
But anyway, they're closer.
Yes, they are much closer, which is the point. So, I nominate someone next. Let's go with Brother Ray. So you're looking at, the Genestealer, Brood Lord, and 4 Genestealers.
Well, I haven't gotten to use a grenade yet, or I could use. So, like, do we know what kind of
Oh, absolutely.
power that guy has? Like how many dice?
No, you know they are monstrously strong in close combat, stronger than even in a Astartes. Basically, these things are as strong as you. These things are stronger. They're about as tougher than you.
Well, man, grenades do not go far.
They do not. But however, you step up and you chuck it.
Sure, but then I'll be right next to the.
So don't miss.
I'm going to do my triple hail of fire.
Sure.
So
Out of curiosity, remind me, what stunts do you have? You have the one that gives you the red thirst if you miss, and what's the other one? Top right.
Oh, up here?
Yep, so you got the...
Blood Frenzy and Suppressive Fire.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, when you make an asset that's suppressive fire, you step it up.
Yeah, add a d6 to your dice pool and step up your effect die when you take an action with a ranged weapon to create a pin down complication on a target.
Right.
Which actually, now that I think about it, that might not be
If
a
you
bad
just
thing to
target
try
the
to
Brood
do.
Lord and go complication pin down, basically anyone else who takes an action against the Brood Lord, they would have to, like the opposition, they would get that d12, making it harder for it to do anything.
So in other words, I could try, say, Suppressive Fire on him
Yes.
and keep him from moving closer to us for the moment? Pinned down?
It would make it more difficult, yes.
Okay. So, yeah. Can I try to do that? I don't know
Sure.
exactly how to pull off a
Basically,
stunt.
assemble your dice pool as normal. So distinction, attribute, piece of gear, which would be heavy bolter, and cohesion, which is a d8. So you're looking at d8 distinction, d10 for the heavy bolter, d8 for agility,
Yep.
and a d8
So
for
8,
cohesion.
8,
10.
10.
Right, so 8, 8, 8, and 10. So move those 3d6s out of the way. Then because of that stunt,
Oh,
it
this
says...
doesn't. I can't do the triple fire as the
No,
triple.
because it's the stunt. So the stunt says when you
Add a
are
D6.
add a d6, and if you are successful, whatever your effect die is, you will step it up. So your intent is to create a pinned or kind of suppressive fire complication on the Brood Lord. So go ahead and roll your dice.
Oh no.
Oh no, there's a 1.
That's what I love to hear.
Can I spend a point to take that back, to keep you from getting that one?
Nope. So there's a point. Give me that die, please.
Oh.
At least it was only a 6.
Okay. And at this point, oh man, if I spent 1, I'd have to take the D10 to put it over. But I'm looking at a bunch of dice over there. So I'll spend 1 to try to increase my chances.
What's the total?
14, 19.
That's pretty good. So this thing is threat. It's elite, so that's 3d8. Its distinction, swift and deadly, that's another d8. Agility, d8. Its heavy chitinous carapace is also a d8. There's a 1, but there's no complications, but still like can't use that. 7. 6 is 13. What was your total?
19.
No, okay, fine. I don't want to spend another die from the Doom Pool. So, I got a 13 to your 19.
Nope. 5-4.
So you beat me by 5, which means you bank, instead of getting that plot point, because that's when you spent, right?
Yeah, that's when I spent.
So you bank a d8 hero die.
I already had 1 D8 hero
Then
die.
yeah, you have 2.
I have 2.
Now you have 2. And
It's a
so,
single-use dice. You can
Yep.
use whenever you
Ah,
want.
okay.
so the complication you would have generated, your effect die was a d8, right?
My complication was a D8.
So because that's what you selected as your effect die,
Oh, yeah.
right? But with that stunt, you added a d6 and step up your effect die, so that becomes a d10, right?
Right. Yes.
Nice.
Okay.
How you also beat it by 5, which in addition to banking a plot point, steps it up again.
So we're going to
So you're looking at a d12
Awesome.
pinned complication you've just nailed on the brood board.
Nicely done,
12.
brother.
So, alright, you got that.
Yeah.
Alright.
There. So the brood lord is in this one. I just attached that. So please nominate someone to go next there, Brother Raylan.
How about our resident grenade expert? I pinned him down. You can do it.
Yeah, you
Brother,
can't trust me,
the
huh?
apothecary is our
So
apparently our
basically, any action you take
explosive
against
expert. I
the
don't know
brood
how this
lord,
happened.
because
It's a
it
free-
has a complication, you will add a d12 for free to your pool.
Okay.
That's awesome.
So like
Straight for the boss.
against single targets, complications are pretty decent because then everyone else can take advantage of them. Against those hordes, it's
Yeah.
How long does that just last a turn?
no,
Or does
it's
get-
kind of like yours. Like it can take an action to try and shake it.
Hmm. So it stays
Fix it?
until you take
Yeah.
some time to fix it.
Oh,
Okay.
All right.
And keep imagining it pierced with the arrows, like pinned down and doing it too.
While you're deciding what you're going to do,
You can go.
a grenade would send it down, possibly.
Everybody still
yeah.
got grenades.
Or
because
you
don't you guys
can
have
charge forward
grenades?
and use
I
it
have
as
grenades.
RPC.
Yeah, everybody can throw grenades.
Oh my god!
Just
you
like
can
hit him
play
and
grenades.
turn to opiates.
Three grenades. Boom,
Hit
boom,
him out with a heavy
boom.
bolter. Crack grenade, crack grenade, crack grenade. All right.
So
If it hits.
well, that's when I threw the plot point and threw my D10 over.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was going to be able to step up the effect twice. I didn't. I don't.
Well,
I didn't
I mean,
understand
we don't
that
even
was
have
gonna
anything
double.
above that, do we?
Well,
Available? Like,
Yeah.
we don't have anything more than D12s. So,
yeah, but when I had the D8, I didn't realize that the net result of what could happen might step
Step
that
up
up to a
twice.
D12. I thought I was just getting a D8. I put a D10 over here with the plot point because I was worried and I figured it'd be better to spend the plot point early in the battle and successfully pin them down for something so that the rest of you could
Yeah.
like make use
Yeah,
of
but
it.
if you wouldn't have spent that, he probably could have beat you by spending a die and adding it. Yeah, so that was good.
Yeah, that's what I just I took the safe thing. I didn't know that it was going to end up stepping up twice.
Beautiful.
Which, it's actually one good thing about the structure of what Chris has got going for this game for a single play when we don't know the rules, because we could. I always couldn't GM this at the math. Like the moment Chris can just kind of do the math enough or tell you how it works.
Yeah.
So you can make reasonable choices and then have it kind of honed into what really happens.
What are you doing there, brother Octavius? Correct.
And sometimes you're like, hey, D12 maximum effect for everybody else.
If something steps up past it,
D20.
I completely forgot. If you step up a complication past the D12, you just take out whatever is attached to it.
Oh.
Oh,
So,
But you would have spent dice, couldn't you, to prevent that? If I put the 2 D8 that I had over here and combined that and left the D10, you would have just bumped up your totals and gotten past
Yeah.
it. I couldn't have done it. That's nice to know. I feel like that was some information withheld that
well,
didn't matter.
I completely forgot.
That
I'm
didn't
going
matter
like,
to the
I'm
game
going like,
whatsoever.
man, D12 pin,
there's
and I'm
a
like,
lot
oh
of
shit.
details.
Well,
Like-
it's never factored in. There's never been a time when we were like in a position to bump up over D12 to do that.
Because the Cortex Prime system is roughly the same with different things it's attached to, I feel like now after this it'll be much easier to jump into another Cortex Prime game.
Like the traits would be different, but it's always it's the same. Like you do the same things. Just instead of it might be
Yeah, our initial battle
That's
against the
right, yeah.
peasants took longer, but
it did, which
not
is
as
why, which is
bad
why I
as
kind
a
of
previous
said.
attempt with our group to try to do a single play session where we spend way too much time on a door because we were all so scared about the door. I feel like you did a good job at pushing us, being like, you guys can just go after the peasants.
Yeah.
It's okay. I haven't set up a trap door here to destroy you all. When you don't know how to play the game yet.
That's kind of where knowing the setting would be like, we're fucking Space Marines.
Yeah.
These are rabble. Ain't shit getting through here except some real lucky shot. So let's go.
Okay, so since it's very metal, I'm gonna go forward, and then we don't have to be on the same square, right?
No.
This is okay.
No, that's a one distance now.
All right.
Yeah.
So
Have a grenade.
no.
I mean, for the length of the game, you basically gave us unlimited grenades.
Well, I did because I was expecting all right, I've only given them 3. Let's see what happens. And they're like, that is more than enough.
Oh, does everybody else now have 2 different grenades?
Yeah, we
And-
do.
and it's
Oh, so we've all got 6.
Yeah.
we've only got
The
6, yeah.
power armor, combat knife, frag grenade, crack grenade, combat or bolt pistol is kind of standard issue, and then other things are different.
All right, I'm gonna melee
Oh,
with my
Whoa.
Narthecium end reductor.
Oh.
What is that?
since we're kind of close, you do actually be in the same range band from melee.
Okay, so that would be a 0. All right.
Yeah,
so
that's why it's kind of like 0.
All right, so
That counts as 1.
All right, so yeah,
That wasn't all that clear. But
okay.
Next turn.
since it is super heroic, and since we are closing in on the end of the night, I want to see what happens. I want to see what happens when someone gets in melee combat with these things that are melee combat fucking experts.
Yes, I would like to duke it out.
Sure.
So
Who's the peasant now, bitch?
Fine,
Oh shit, I'm
down,
pinned.
he jumps the distance.
so I'll take my D8 distinction,
4.
and I'll take my
What distinction are
D8
you using?
by
the book.
Lead from the front,
Leave in front. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
and then I'm gonna take my D8 agility,
Mhm.
and then I'll take the D8 cohesion.
Whoa.
D8 is through here, right? Yeah.
This one.
And then Narthecium and reductor is a D8, which is right here. And then I'm also gonna take my hero die that I have.
That costs a plot point. It costs
I don't have any pop.
and the thing is, you can spend it because you can add it after you see what I roll.
I see. It's fine.
Or if you want to use a distinction as a D4, you
I
get a
know, but I'm not gonna do that.
If
It's
you
gonna be.
find it
It's
after
gonna
the
be.
fact, do you get to then roll an extra D8?
With the hero die, yeah.
Okay.
You,
All right.
you spend a plot point after you see what I roll. Roll whatever hero die you spent, add it to the total.
So I totally forgot that I had that available last turn.
So what does your Narthesium and Reductor say? Because it's like armor piercing
Its
something?
target must step back any armor die included in their reaction dice pool twice.
Right, and what's the limit?
When using Arthesium and Reductor in a melee attack, both 1s and 2s count as spoilers.
Right, okay, because it's delicate. Okay. So you're just going to cleave into that Rude Lord there.
I'm gonna just jab
It's
it.
my field medic kit that for some reason has a chainsaw.
Man, if that succeeds, you two
I was
will be all
confused
set
when you
up to do
said
some
that.
serious damage.
Because
In down, armor reduction.
it just says melee, and you're like it's a health, it's a med
It's
kit.
because I ran out of space.
Ah.
Like, I tried to put as much information on there without being a massive info dump.
Because it just looks like a melee weapon. So
It's pretty much what he's armed with. That
No,
big old drill.
I get what it is now. I just when I first read it, I did not get the point that it was supposed to be like a med kit. Like
Yeah, because why would you?
Yeah.
It's a melee weapon.
all right, I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna do it. This thing's going down. All right,
Yes.
first try. Oh fuck.
There's a problem. You're gonna buy that
Oh
D8.
god.
Oh.
Can you roll your hero die?
Well now.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, now I
Yeah.
can.
Now you can. You can, if you want, you can hold on. Remember, you can hold on to that until after you see what I roll.
Yeah. After the.
I feel like you're gonna roll more than a 10. I just got this
You
feeling.
might as well, right? Wait, that right? Like,
No.
Until you see.
Let's he's gonna roll more than 10.
Okay. So you're gonna do that hero
Yeah,
die.
I'm gonna do
Okay.
the hero die.
So
That's a
you
six,
banked a
isn't it?
D6.
Don't you get an eight?
Okay, no, because it's whatever the highest I rolled. So you've banked 2d8s. John has only banked a d6.
Yeah.
Oh.
I've got only a shitty hero
So
die.
basically, just pick up and roll a 6.
Yes.
If you roll a 1, you get your hero die back.
Okay, well, that's good.
Nice.
4.
Okay. So your total is now 11, 14.
All right, that's kind of shit. So,
Okay. Well, hey, let's.
well, I'm gonna get fucked up.
So its threat is 3d8. Sorry,
But a pretty ribbon.
take that back because that pinned d12 complication.
Oh, right.
I'll include that in the
Oh, God. Oh.
You're welcome.
Dave, what
Oh.
So, if you wanna. Okay. Well.
All right.
Something.
So if we take this out,
Yep.
we place it with a 6.
Yep.
Now it's 17.
There we
Okay.
go.
Now
Which
you're
is not so bad.
now you're
Yeah.
cooking with gas.
Yeah.
And you've got a d8 effect die. Okay.
Yes.
So the threat is 3d6. Its distinction is where's my other d8s? Jesus Christ! All right. Swift and deadly. I'm so swift since it's pinned the fuck down. Agility is also a d8. Jeez, I need more d8s. And you said that's armor piercing 2.
Yeah.
So its heavy chitness carapace steps down from a 8 to a 6 to a 4. There's my 4. So 3 attribute distinction. Yes.
That's a lot of that. It's more dice than I rolled.
Well, there's a 1, which I can't use. There's a 2. There's
Yeah.
a 2. There's a 6. There's an
Yeah.
8. That's a 14. What did you get? A 17?
Yeah, 17.
I'm trying to decide if it's super awesome to have the fucking medic just end this thing with his apothecary drill.
Well,
Sure,
it's
sure.
been pinned down.
It has. Okay, you know what? So I won't spend a die from that. So I only have a 14. So your 17 beats it.
Okay.
So you inflict a d8 of stress,
Mm-hmm.
which knocks off one of its d8 threat
Okay.
dice.
All right.
So it's about like 2/3. It's about a third of the way down on hit points, essentially. Effectively. So
Success.
Brother goes, "I'll heal you, brother."
It's
There's
stre-
a drill in
it's stressed out now. You know, it needs to go home, listen to some Enya, take a bubble bath.
It's like the old timey doctors that just drill a hole in your brain.
Yeah.
and let
Yeah,
out.
pretty much.
It's been trepanned. Yeah.
I was just thinking you cast restoration on that
I'm not
dead.
dead.
So
on
who's
that dead,
going next,
person,
John?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Raylan's gone.
I've gone,
I've gone because I went first.
and you've gone. You threw a grenade in the water.
Yeah.
So I guess the only.
This
person-
is essentially a new scene.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah.
So this other table
I
is
have
gone.
gone recently though.
No, but I mean, you both have to go in this round, though, right?
In-
Yeah,
in-
yeah.
yeah, for the scene, yeah.
Yes, then I will choose the
Conrad?
Yes.
The
Brother
Black
Conrad.
Templar. Alright.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess I'm just going to shoot. Am I shooting in combat? Is that okay?
No, there's no shooting in combat yet.
So I'm going to shoot.
Grenade.
It's in that big pile of skulls, so I think I got a clear shot.
Just saying. You have grenades.
I do have grenades. I can step up on my plasma is amazing.
Oh, you have a. That's right. What is your
It's a
plasma
D10.
boost to?
D12.
It boosts to a D12, but I always roll a 1 when I do that. Well, I
Like,
guess, but this is the end. This is
You
really
step up to D12. If he fails the roll, he takes stress equal to his highest rolling die. Because the thing just kind of overheats and explodes.
Well, you do still have a D12, don't you?
Yes.
From the
Yes.
end.
Oh, and the
So-
D12. Oh,
So
I'm
remember,
gonna be
you get
rolling.
an extra D12 for
Yeah.
whatever it is you choose to do.
All right. Okay, I'm doing
Any
that.
action
That's why I
against the
front loaded the battle.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that you can
Okay.
take risks and have a better chance.
All right. So I'll
Depending
boost,
on my
and I've got
teammates here.
Wow. So you boosted, so we're looking at 2D12.
2D12, and that's a 10. I'll do an 8. I'll do an 8 for my
Agility.
I guess agility. Yeah, agility, and then
Distinction?
my distinction. I guess.
So you have something like Suffer Not the Wish to Live, or Xenophobic.
Yeah, or I guess fanatical. Yeah, fanatic works.
Here you are. You are facing a non-human enemy.
This, and I am going to.
This filthy Xeno scum should not be allowed to live.
Okay, so up and then the
Cohesion is a D8.
Oh yeah, the right D8 for cohesion.
Come on.
Where's the D8?
There.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
So you should be looking at 5 dice because your 4 traits
Yes.
and the D12 count.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Don't stuff the roll because
Ouch! Because I will
that
explode.
would be super epic. Final boss fight.
Oh. Okay.
Oh no!
I rolled a 1 on a D12, which you cannot.
There's a
buy.
1 too.
Oh,
You love rolling 1. I love Brother Conrad and his fanatical self. So there's your 2D. I'm going to take those 2.
Oh.
Can you spend
what's
one of those
going
to help
on?
at all?
Well,
Can you roll another die with one of them? You can't, can you?
can I? Yeah.
Because then you wouldn't have
can
an
I s-
effect dice. Or I guess you.
If you don't have an
do a
effect
6,
die,
don't
you get a D4.
Right.
D4. Okay. Oh god.
14. Yeah. So the minimum. But the D4 effect will have no
You
effect.
need at least a D8 effect die to affect
Right,
this
right,
thing.
right, right.
shit.
Well, can I buy an additional D4 for that? No, for the
No, like if
can't.
you
Only for-
if you
only for
if
the
you
default,
want
yeah.
to add a D6 to your pool, you have to do it before you roll.
Right.
After the roll, all you're doing is keeping an extra round for the total, or doing
You
an extra
got
effect.
lots of plot points. If we survive
And if I
another
fail,
round, you
I'm
can
gonna
maybe do some good shit with that.
Explode, right? I'm
It's
gonna
equal
take
to your highest rolling die,
8. Yeah, so
Oh,
I'll go.
no.
Yeah.
which will be a D12 stress.
Oh, D12. Oh,
Yeah,
right.
like you equal to your highest rolling die, not the value.
Well, I mean, you have an 11. Yeah, that
So you're looking at an
the
11
monster
with the
has to be-
D8 effect
Yes,
die? Okay.
yes.
Well, I mean, the good news is if the Broodlord stuffs that roll, I mean, the
If-
D8 will knock off another one of those.
Right,
things.
right,
So
right.
you're holding on to those 3 plot points. Okay.
Yeah.
There's still a chance.
So it's 1, 2. It's only 2 for the threat dice now. You know what? I don't see how Swift and Deadly helps when it's pinned down. So there's my D4, which adds a D6 to my Doom pool. Agility of 8, which is that one. Heavy chitness carapace, but again, your armor piercing 2,
Yes.
which goes 8 to 6, 6 to 4.
Twice. Yeah.
So
Look at all those 4s.
Come
You got
on,
a
son.
chance. You got a chance.
threat,
Every single one is a
distinction,
1.
agility, armor. Okay.
Or maybe 2.
I mean, there's a lot of 4s in that hand right now. I'm just saying.
Well, there's no ones.
Boom.
Oh.
All right. Jeez, that's a
Oh.
Ah.
So I'm looking
Oh my
at
god!
5, 9. What did you roll? 11?
11.
I gotta do it. To make that 5, 9, 12.
Boom. Oh, overcharging.
shit.
Never.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So, what's going goes, death to the Xenos! Boom! And his plasma gun just fucking explodes.
So I go up to
that's
12 or go.
You are up to 12 now.
Okay. then 12.
So, you take any more stress, you are out. Time for the apothecary to shine. Someone's actually taking that.
Doctor.
Come here, brother. Conrad.
Cool. So you nominate someone else to go, which I guess is brother.
Yeah.
My Yes, my wolf brother.
My howling friend.
Okay. Oh shit, that was a bright grenade.
Yeah. What the fuck? Oh, my heightened senses. Oh, God.
Pops up on there.
Oh, that's actually not any. Yeah.
Crack grenade.
Crack.
Alright.
As the assault marine, here's a chance to use your melee weapons.
Oh, that's true.
So you've got what? Power maul?
I can't get that close unless
you
I
can.
can like heroically.
It's heroically. Yeah, that's what.
So
That's what Brother Octavius did.
I've Deus Ex Machina things here so that it's on the very edge of the zone, and then we can step forward to the very edge of the zone.
Yeah.
And so if we break out the tape measure, we are within 1
Yeah, 1 inch
or 0 of the zone.
All right.
I've made it work.
Well, I've got some
Math checks
disregarded
out.
tactics, considering he could like rip me to shreds. So.
And you do tend to charge forward.
Yeah, that's what I'm about. So that's 8. And let's see, would that be strength then? Yeah.
Probably.
8.
Because you're just going to lay into it with what? Your power maul?
Yeah. And a 10 for that power maul.
Which has
is not
armor
bad.
piercing what? 1?
Yeah, just
Okay.
armor piercing 1. And cohesion 8,
8, yep.
which is that. And I suppose I should wait and see if I need to add 1 to my hero dice.
So you're looking at 4 dice there?
4 dice.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Or I could add an extra die from a trait I'm already using.
Yep, so in other words,
Another
if you
D8.
also then spend a plot point to use like awareness or something else.
It says a trait I'm already using, so
Yeah.
just be like super strong, you know?
Yeah, but I mean like the black-headed category is the trait.
Oh.
So you have distinctions are a trait, attributes are a trait.
I see. So I could add another 10, is what you're saying.
From what?
My power maul.
No, because you're already using your power maul. You've already included your power maul.
Oh,
so using
okay.
another piece of a starter's
Another thing in
equipment.
that.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
got it. Then I've got my strength and I've got my agility because I'm
Yep, you could. Yeah.
darting around
Here's a D8.
real fast.
For agility. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. I'm looking at 2d8.
Not bad. That is pretty dang good, actually. Let's see.
Agility.
Here when you come out of that.
I'm going to
Not bad.
Yeah, it's not-
Not bad. That's not a word. Like,
spend that,
okay.
add that. So now I am at 16 plus 7 is 23.
Holy shit! Alright. So,
It's on the very edge.
for the
But the mall
reaction,
explodes and you...
so we're looking at 2d8 for its
were able to step
its
up to the
threat.
very
We're looking at
edge
a
and
d6
expand
for
the
its
range.
distinction of
And if
swift
we
and
break
deadly.
out the
Its
Mage
agility is a
Knight tape
d8.
It's a D4
we are
less time for
within
swim.
Because I
range
added
to
a,
be able to, you know,
die to the doom point.
Oh, okay.
Much like
sword
you
or
can
whatever.
choose to use distinctions to gain a
Oh,
plot
okay.
point, I can choose to step it down to add a die to the
So it's all a D8. You said D6, but you meant D8 for that
a
one?
d8
Yeah, they're all
for
D8s.
agility.
Okay.
Its armor would normally be an 8, but the power maul steps it down by 1 to a d6.
Okay.
I think it's kind of awesome. Okay, so rather than spending dice from the doom pool to add to that, I'm just gonna. And your total was what?
23.
that's what you had rolled. I walked out and, and I heard, oh, that's not so bad. The highest
Sorry,
roll of the
you know
night.
what? Add a 12 to that.
Oh.
Your brother Raylan pinned that fucker too.
Oh, that's
Oh
right.
shit, I forgot about that.
You didn't roll my
D12,
pen?
yeah.
There you
Oh,
go.
I forgot.
Wow, so that's gonna go from a 23 to a what?
Somehow the DM.
That's a high.
Oh, yeah. You don't have to talk. You don't have to toss that. But so your total is what now?
So instead of the 7 I was keeping, I'll swap that out for the 12. So 12 plus 16 is
Or
28.
28. Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo!
That's the highest.
This is hilarious. All right. Let's see. Okay. 2 games of this, and Jinxers haven't gotten off one fucking attack ever. And I kind of want to see how good they are. And it's just like, nope. All right. You know what? Fuck it. There's my D12.
Yeah, you might want to do that. Go on.
Because the psychic progenitor of the brood ain't going out like a little binge. Well, there's a 1. There's a 1.
Oh.
There's a 2 on my D12, which doesn't help. So let's see. 7, 14, Even if I spend a die, that brings it up to a 21, which is still, what, 7 points behind your 28?
So you get your plot point there.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. You know what? Why not? I'll spend that.
Uh-huh.
It is a 21, which is still, what, 7
7
points?
points shy.
Okay, so you bank a D8.
Okay.
More importantly, you also step up your effect die.
Oh, so that's dead now.
Yeah.
So Fenrir, Yingvar, as soon as the explosion goes off,
Uses it as cover, and the Broodlord goes, the fuck was that?
the Broodlord's temporarily blinded, so Yingvar just jumps forward and gouges its throat out.
Wow.
Wow. Assist.
I was supposed to be super awesome and deadly! Oh, magnetize it too.
Yes.
Nice, sweet. Oh, fuck you guys. Wow. All right. So,
Group strategy right there.
as it is, what, 10:45?
Yeah.
Cool. I will call it there. Cool. Yeah. Still want to see what the genestealers do in combat because they're supposed to be fuck off deadly, not die like chumps.
You took the
that
first
good?
turn though.
I did, and it's
Yeah,
like no ranged weapons. Let's get real close and hope. It didn't happen, but I did give them a stunt where if they have a successful reaction against any ranged attack, they step up a die or make a stunt for themselves, which they get to add later. Basically, they go, ha ha ha, missed me, and bounce off the walls and can get closer
okay.
with you that faster. But I'm just blap down, blap down, blap down. All right. Same thing happened the first time I ran this. They're like, okay, we get to the end, and what's that? Bagap, bagap, bagap. Ah, shit. So, yeah.
Maybe they need at the start of the situation, someone pop up out of
That-
vents
well, they do
close
have-
to the people or something, if
inside
they're,
the
if they're so
room.
weak from a distance.
They are.
Right.
I did give them rules where if I spend dice from here, I can bring more genestealers into the scene. Spend a D8 to have pop up, and yeah, they do have to act like.
But
aliens where
you
they're,
made
pop
your
up,
big
pop up.
bad a good leader, where it was leading from the front, and I went.
It was because I'm
you
ooh,
go
this
for the
thing's-
leader if
This
you
thing's
can.
super deadly. It can attack it with 3 targets, and it's cool. So plot points go back here. The first time I ran this, while the kind of mutant leader who stepped up didn't get a crack right into the face, he did come charging in with his chainsword, and again, the Space Wolf just said, "Bap, nope." And chainsword has a thing where, if you succeed in a reaction, you can use your effect die as stress as a counterattack. He just went, "Bap," beat it by 10, and just went, my effect die is now past the D12, so... And I'm like, man, dude died on his own action. How rude is that? So,